into $29,000 then, which will eventually turn into $3 million, just because someone walked by. Larry said, come sit down, because we met him earlier. He liked him. Name was Neil, and just started asking him questions, solving problems, taking notes.
Are you guys lost?
I'm watching. No, I'm
Making
following.
sense. Okay, so
I was there and I'm kind of lost.
okay, Larry had an idea of, hey, why don't we make sure you get your return on investment from Mining Disrupt, which is an event, because he has a business, by having an after party before the event, and just sell that.
Are you guys confused? I'm confused. How about
Very
in
confused.
the context of donuts? Like, it
Donuts.
can't be more simpler
I
than
see.
like 3 juicy puppy donuts.
Okay,
It's a
that's
good question, right?
These are the breakfast coupons. They are arbitraging. This is Mining Disrupt, and this is Larry Chang's unofficial block symposium, formerly known as Square.
Or this is Mining Disrupt. This is the dinner prior to Mining Disrupt. This is Neil.
I see.
No, but do you see how like people get confused?
Yeah.
Like he was there. And so basically what David wants to say is, oh, I saw Larry Chang make $3 million. And you're like, what the fuck? Oh, he's just a magician, he's a Jedi. None of those things help anybody. And so that's why I furiously take notes, because you guys felt it. You guys felt that scam energy where you're like, this guy is so fraudulent that like, what the fuck are you selling? Why are you selling?
But we're here anyway.
But that was yesterday. But today is different because I was selling Nick Tipman how hard, right? How hard was I
Are
selling
you guys
him?
Knicks friends?
What?
Are you guys Knicks friends?
Right?
That was great.
Right?
That was a great intro.
I was like, yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, right.
It sounds like it.
And do you see how like I get so frustrated because I know that I come across like a scam artist because people will tell brief snippets of story and then the story checks out and that makes people even more mad. Because then they're just like, fuck, do I gotta...
What the fuck is this guy?
Exactly. Just like when I gave you the Mark Cuban... It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like he and Nick getting the Nick Tipman franchise. I just juxtaposed you and Mark Cuban.
Not bad.
Nick getting the Mark Cuban franchise for season 2 launch party. This is Nick Tipman undergrad, okay? This is Don Shula saying, hey, Larry, will you bring Mark Cuban over to say hi? And so I'm trying to not take credit for all 3 donuts. And then guess what happens when you try to not take credit for all 3 donuts? You get credit for like 5 more donuts because
I said that's funny. You get more credit.
you get more credit, which is what hashtag?
I missed which hashtag we were talking about. The context.
They have
Could
no
you
idea.
repeat why it was 5? Could you repeat why was it 5? From 1 to 5.
Because look at these donuts.
Yeah.
What are these donuts in your framework? What does each donut represent? Don't you love how I put people on the spot?
Yeah.
This is for $1 million.
Yeah.
In fact, this is for $600K specifically.
Gosh.
What are these donuts? What are these donuts?
People.
They are people, actually. Why is it the new person?
You and 2 women, right?
Why is it the new people that come up with genius stuff? Every time the new people just come in and just drop knowledge genius bombs. That's right.
How did it turn from that last donut into 5 more?
He's still getting credit for it today.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
is
I'm
it...
DJing in another donut. I'm DJing in another donut.
We're making deposits into the relationship, so you're making those introductions and connecting people, and those people appreciate it. You have the law of reciprocity.
Why is it the new people that come in and drop genius stuff, and you've been sitting with me for like hours upon hours upon hours?
Okay, well, if more donuts are coming in, then that's hashtag EUTWMPPM.
Okay.
That momentum.
But that doesn't help these guys either because each donut is a what? Nick needs this.
Each donut
Nick's
is an external
LPs. What was?
API.
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Each donut is a hashtag external API.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah, 'cause it's Neil, it's the dinner, and it's the symposium. So if you guys remember, I said my chapter 19 and my chapter 15, right? Those are also examples of applying an external API, which is a fork. And then balloons, he had you do the balloons thing?
He does glow sticks.
Oh, yeah.
He does glow sticks.
So those are real world APIs, right? And then my book club, no one really gives a shit about a book club.
Zero.
But
I
people like
do.
a
I
night
care.
club. Larry came up with, why don't we do the external API of Superstition Nightclub? And now, like, I put that on the internet and people still hit me up, or like, whenever they talk to me, it's like, oh yeah, that book club at a nightclub shit, fucking hilarious. Yeah, and we actually got like,
That's brilliant
So
because
we
it's
were-
memory.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like we were trying to get some girls' attention, right? But wasn't happening. Take out the books, now we have their attention. Get snaps and photos, and it's hilarious. Yeah.
Do you see how it's this is what Nick did and this is what every millionaire, multimillionaire, like why their kids get so angry with them. Like I'm explaining so many like okay, so dad's rich, okay? And the kid is frustrated as fuck, okay? Because a rich dad's like not even understanding fucking 3 donuts. Oh my god, fucking 3 donuts. That's a pun, but okay. Which is the dad doesn't know what the dad did. And now the kid's frustrated because the dad can't explain it. Because this is Nick Tipman, okay? Where he did genius shit because this is Don Shula. This is Mark Cuban, and then he inverted the two with saying, did Larry introduce Don Shula to Mark Cuban? Who wanted the intro? And then people don't believe it. And people don't believe that Nick was the person who ran point on it. I mean, I helped, but like now Nick's a fraud, okay? And then now Nick's got to do the second thing because everyone's saying, no way did you fucking do this on your fucking own. And then you're like, oh shit. Whereas now, Rich Nick, oh my god, you're welcome. Now Rich Nick is like off on his own, about to make mistakes because he's on 0 APIs. He's this, you know what this is? He's a honeypot. Did this just get real?
Let's see it.
This is Nick. A warm pot of honey.
Warm pot of honey right now. Warm pot of honey is attracting a lot more honey.
Exactly.
Honey attracts more honey.
Exactly. And then we need Nick to do this, okay? We need Nick to do this.
Get
Now
the
with
honey
women.
and 3 deals done.
Yeah. Look. Problem.
Much better.
Problem. Solution. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah.
So how did you make the introduction? Did you go to Mark and say, hey, you want to meet Don Shula?
No, I think I think Mark came up to Larry or I and said, "Is that Don Shula over there?" Said, "Can you make an introduction?" I swear to God, he was in it. Like, I mean, he's an
This is
old
getting
man. He's
better
in a
than that.
wheelchair. Like,
Yeah.
And Mark was like, "Is that Don Shula over there?" And he was like, "Will you make an introduction to me?" And yeah, me and Larry walked over there and introduced him together.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And we got.
And now you got credit for both.
yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah.
And Nick probably forgets this, is he met Atlanta people who were crashing the party,
Oh, yeah.
and then he got them venture funding.
I don't forget it. And there's 2. So Neil, Thandar was the other one from Michigan who was Entrepreneur of the Year who was in town that day. And that was the reason that Mark was there, is because the reason that Larry reached out to me was because I had reached out to Mark earlier in the day and he saw my Twitter. And I reached out to Mark and said, hey Mark, there's this big entrepreneurial event with the governor and the founder of Priceline happening today at this venue.
I love Scott.
You should come, yeah. So then Scott Case was there too. But yeah, so Neil's actually becoming a GP right now too. We're both at the same stage. He went through Y Combinator. He didn't sell his business, but they have it profitable. It spits off cash now. The business that Mark Cuban invested in. And so he's using that basically to fund his fund, and now he's becoming a GP too. So I've actually caught up with him quite a bit in the last 6 months, and it was all also from that same meeting.
Yeah, same vintage.
Same vintage, same event. Yeah, we kept up a little bit before when I was at Niblets, but we went almost 10 years without seeing each other too, and then both of us were starting venture fund at the same time. I reached out to him, and it was good to catch up. He sent me a couple deals. Funny way, he sent me a deal that's really good, generative AI, big pharma enterprise deal, company that's going to blow up. Dave Yoon, who is on the board of Toast. He was on the board of ExactTarget when they sold it to Salesforce for 2.5. He's on the board of about $100 billion in software companies right now. I had a call with him yesterday, last night. That was right after I walked down and met you guys. That's why I was talking to
Jeff.
Nice to meet you.
Jason,
Do you guys know each other?
Hi, Nick.
Dan.
Nice to meet you. Chase. I recognize you from yesterday. You look a little familiar, but I don't know why.
Cool. That's great.
So Chase and David.
Famous. Yeah.
So Chase and David are like rising,
Water is okay. Thank you.
Nice.
and this is where, like, I'm gonna repeat the same joke, but it's not even a joke because it's true.
Uh-huh.
Is this is you, like, but 10 years older, starting off.
Okay. Nice.
Keep going, Nick. Keep going. It was Dave.
Yeah, so Dave Yoon, he was a partner at TCD Ventures, private equity and software, top one ever. He's like right hand man to the founder of TCD. He's there 17 years. I mean, he's been on more boards of softwares than I even know probably. But yeah, sits on like the board of probably $100 billion worth of software right now. Just started his own growth equity fund. He's kind of known as the vertical SaaS guy, which is what my thesis is. So I was reaching out to him to talk.
Oh, this is yesterday's call.
Yeah, this is yesterday's call.
On the third floor.
On the third floor, where he turned it into, by the end, pitching me on him wanting to be my anchor LP, which was pretty cool. But anyways, that introduction all the way back to Mark Cuban and the party
That's amazing.
was. Neil showed up at the event. He was at that entrepreneur event. He was the Entrepreneur of the Year. He came to our event.
Wait, who was Neil?
Neil Thandar. And Larry and I introduced Neil to Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban invested $250K in Neil's business that night. Neil got into Y Combinator because of that. Neil's business is successful. Me and Neil caught back up. Neil made an introduction to this really badass founder that I am looking at. I talked to David Yoon last night. He's asking me about an LMS deal or a LIMS deal, laboratory information management deal in the material sciences space, which I know nothing about, except for the fact that this founder is building something very adjacent that would be very relevant to him. And so the only way that I was able to provide value to David Yoon last night, and I'm going to be able to make an intro to that CEO. He's like, well, if you intro me to that CEO, he's going to get information and learn from that CEO. But I was able to provide him value on call one, which is really the whole reason of why he would be the anchor LP in my fund, is to get access and deal flow to the deals that are earlier to see if they would affect his $100 million deals that he's
Sure.
doing, is what their average check size is. And that is basically doing due diligence by getting an introduction to these founders.
I want to ask and expand on board of director stuff, but can you catch Chase up on this plate of food? With this plate of food? Because Chase will take voracious notes because
Yeah.
we're actually going to triple your fund. Yeah, we're going to triple your fund in your deal flow.
I like that.
So what is this?
Yeah, so the last time we were looking at it, that's the honey pot, me in the middle, no.
No, it is.
It is.
What's this?
Around it was
What's this? What's this?
That was the event that we threw. That's what I took it as. The event that Larry and I threw 10 years ago.
Wow.
Shark Tank season 2 premiere party. And then
What's the white donut?
That one was me originally, but now it's Larry. And then that's Don Shula. And then
At Don Shula Steakhouse.
At Don Shula's No Name Steakhouse in Indianapolis at the Super Bowl. And then the last one was Larry. And Larry turned those 3 donuts into 5 donuts or many more donuts.
What protocol is that, Chase? When the donuts just keep on adding more donuts and you're like, oh my god, this is magical shit. You're DJing together donuts.
Hashtag external API.
And do you see how now as the grandfather to like grandnephews or like your uncle's kid, you don't demoralize them with like, here's $3 million I just croaked. Fuck you and enjoy drugs. Like you don't, right? It's the opposite, which is you get your money tranched. I gave you $30 million, David's nephew's nephew, okay? But guess what? I tranched it at the $600 pieces. You're like, what? It's not even a trickle, so the kid can't get at it. Like nobody's ever structured a trust fund where you don't get, at 35 years old or 45 years old, you get $80 million. Like enjoy fucking up that situation.
Yeah.
Whereas now you're on a $600 trickle. Like what? This money's coming out so fucking slow. Why don't I just go make it myself?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
Right.
That's what that is. That's what this is.
Interesting.
Because you have that problem too. Do you see how like Nick's like, oh my
That
god,
just clicked.
oh my god, click. Oh, I've got a girlfriend and a side piece. Maybe I should put them both on the trickle. Oh my god, this got too personal. It turns out this is Nick's venture fund. It turns out this is Nick's venture fund, but this is Nick as an undergrad, okay? And in the middle is the lowly people like Larry Chang and Mark Cuban just making the glue happen. And then asking like, hey, like WTF, like me and Mark Cuban are still important. So then what's this, Nick? What's this? Because Chase is not lost, but Chase a little bit lost.
Yeah.
But what's
So
this?
somehow the honeypot came in. That was Nick, the honeypot.
Somehow, somehow, this is how exactly it came in. It came in as.
It means to learn to do what to do with this honeypot. But it's attracting more honey right now, which means it's working really well though. So now, how do I invest the more honey that's coming in the right way? What do I do with all the honey that's flowing in?
Is
Am I making donuts with it?
I'm glad this is on video, okay? Consent to remind you of genius shit. No consent required. This is your honey pot, okay? You cover it up, okay? Okay? You put a little cookie on top of it, and you never let people touch your honey pot. Are you scared right now? I'm sorry, this is our first hangout. but you can okay, so do you have thoughts on this?
Thoughts are I'm taking it all in. I get the relationship part.
Right?
It all comes down to people and
It comes
know
on to
that.
people.
You're helping enough other people get what they want and never have to
Absolutely.
worry about what you
Yeah,
want.
yeah. I get the 3 turns to 5 when you don't take credit for the 3.
And this is like how to go from unconscious competent, which is what both my mother and my father were, into conscious incompetent, to conscious rich. Oh my God, so douchey. But Nick did come up with an exit, and he does have a cookie on top of his honey pot. Oh look, a cookie, a Four Seasons pastry staff cookie from Elmer and Staff, made perfectly. Weirdest breakfast ever. Does this breakfast have any food related to it?
It's the breakfast with no breakfast.
It's a breakfast, no breakfast, no breakfast, no
Hydration
staff.
breakfast.
I'm
You
sorry,
guys
what
stay
you saying?
hydrated.
You gotta say hydrated.
Yeah, hydrated.
Thank you.
Did that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this breakfast.
Oh, so funny. You want to pass them in?
So what's the story about the $3 million deal? You guys at lunch. Yeah, thank you.
Oh yeah, that's a great. See, look, why is the second richest or very rich dude at the table expanding on a prior?
Yeah.
What a great question, Nick.
All right.
Nick had a question. Hello.
Yeah, it's, LCBS, is that what it is? The 3 million? I don't think I was here when you talked about 3 million, but I'm assuming that's what it was.
What's that?
Are you guys now?
No, I think they're gonna be here in a second, Josh.
Is that correct? The LCBS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're at breakfast in Miami the other weekend for Bitcoin Miami, which is happening.
I'm mad that I was there. I didn't know you guys were there. I should have been at breakfast.
Oh.
Anyways, go on.
Oh, look, I have notes. Nice.
Nice.
So we're at breakfast and another guy sitting. I mean, let's say we're sitting here like over there at that table, and Larry and David had met him earlier that weekend. He goes, "Hey, Neil, come on over here," and he comes and joins us for breakfast, and we start asking him about, what his company is seeing as the main problems in the mining industry, because that's where they're at. So 30 to 45 minutes of just understanding one of the problems. Thank you. We find out that his mining services company, they go and service all these mining facilities and do maintenance. They're 6 figures invested into Mining Disrupt, a booth sponsorship at Mining Disrupt in July in Miami. But they don't even know if they're going to get the ROI on it because they don't know what's going on with the event. So on the spot, Larry spins up how about this? How about we do the after party for Mining Disrupt before Mining Disrupt for 29K so that you get your ROI before the event. And so that happened at breakfast.
So you guys are doing the free event?
We're doing
What's the donut?
the
Here. You can touch Brady's food. You can use a fork if you don't want to get sticky, non-sticky, savory on there. So walk me through the donuts.
The donut analogy is kind of tricky.
It's useful, right? It's useful, right? Because there's no way you'd be able to talk through these APIs.
So
Do your best.
I will. May not be very good, but it'll be my best. So this is Mining Disrupt. This is
Which Mining Disrupt? Which one?
This one.
Okay.
This is Neil, who has a company.
Which one is the white one?
The white one.
Okay.
And then this is ChatGPT.
Wow.
Okay.
See?
Yes.
Do you see how that's a donut? That's a nugget. Sorry.
And so so we're not like experts in mining, but we're putting on this pre-event after party before the party event. And so we're figuring out how to do the agenda for this event. So we go and we look at 2022 Mining Disrupt, the whole speaker lineup, their topics, pulled the YouTube transcripts from their talks that were on YouTube last year, pulled articles, pulled tweets for all the speakers, fed it into ChatGPT and said, "Hey, ChatGPT, this is what they talked about last year. Here's their tweets, here's their articles. Tell us what they might say this year based on what they've said in the
I didn't
past."
do the beginning of that last week.
And we put that all into our agenda and our landing page. So it's all extrapolated to speakers who were basically borrowing that knowledge from. So we're using
And so this figure's like, you read my mind.
yes.
With your stuff that you just published, that's like 3/4 baked. It's not half baked because it's a tweet, and it's a tweet that got like 80 likes, and then so you're basically doing to Sam Altman what Sam Altman's doing to everyone else. Talk about that with the donuts.
Yeah, so with Neil over here, the way he's gonna get his ROI is he's going to mining disrupt before mining disrupt happens. Think about what that opens up for him when he's actually at mining disrupt. And then for anybody that comes to this unofficial blog symposium we're doing, this after party, they're going to get exposed to all of the topics for mining disrupt, but Neil is also going to look great because he's part of this awesome re-event. That's
So he's already
basically
planted the ideas that everybody at the event is about the support and make him, he's already famous beforehand and shows up at the event.
exactly.
And now everybody is supporting what he's already said.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
And Sam Altman, I did this to the chat GPT, and this is like where the fraud becomes less fraudulent, where the scam becomes less scamster, is the dude who started chat GPT, his name is Sam Altman. And so Sam was a 1/4 baked VC, inviting 20 more VCs to speak at 20 lectures. So if you're an undergrad, which I try to be on campus at Stanford, you're like, I'm getting 20 different rich dudes rolling in, blowing up my shit. Like, do you have one plan for me? Like, what am I supposed to do today? If you got a Yale PhD mom, an MIT PhD dad yelling at you, and you're like, what am I supposed to do right now? Like, I can't go get a PhD now, and so you're just frozen. You guys ever get frozen? Your brain gets stuck? So, how does it pertain to having something doable? That's Sam Altman. In 2013, he taught a class at Stanford. The ChatGPT founder taught a class at Stanford, which was called CS23B. It's a VC confab with 20 VCs coming in to talk. Problem: VCs are mentoring you. I'm here to help, but I'm getting you fired, which is why we need to talk about board of director stuff now.
Okay.
Because founders, they're going to get fired as soon as they take that first round of venture. If we can actually control any board, so that donut, okay? So there's a giant donut that's this big called ChatGPT VC, which is what happened simple. So I'm going to tie up 8 dangling phrases with this one thing. So what I did with Sam Altman's problem is I wrapped a Larry Chang ChatGPT acting function on Twitter. So lecture 5 would launch Peter Thiel. Lecture 5, monopolies are the goal, competition is for losers. Okay. So I was like, Peter, you forgot these 80 things. So I dropped 63,000 tweets on top of their head. Because I am Sam Altman's ChatGPT. You got me. I dropped 63,000 CS183 tweets. And that's where everybody at Stanford and Y Combinator was like, holy fucking fuck. I thought Larry partied all the time, which I do. But I dropped literally 63,030 tweets on top of their head. Because I was angry. I don't know why I was angry. Maybe I'm a happy kind of angry like I am right now. Okay. But I got really motivated because Sam Altman was like me as a little kid, frozen. I'm gonna cry a little bit. Because it was hard for me. But then now that it's no longer hard, I gotta find stuff that's hard and nearly impossible to do. Which is dropping 63,000 tweets from 2012 spring to Peter Thiel class. And as soon as Sam Altman launched CS23B, I did every letter in the alphabet. In the same way that ChatGPT is going to own everybody's brain. So I'm originally Sam Altman's. And you see why I'm frustrated with our current circumstance? Because I mapped out LP Thought Leadership Summit, Local Finance Republic Fund Summit East. Because all this stuff had a spin out. Oh, what about the LP management thing? With blog articles that were Sam Altman's. He would even ask questions like CS23D distribution. Like, who's going to teach CS23D distribution? And I'm like, Sam, I shipped that shit already. Because he asked that question in 2015. So I'm like, thank you for not following me on Twitter because there's 63,000 tweets that are in existence. And so that's kind of coming full circle with like the APIs and the proof of work. Well, I feel like I grew up this breakfast.
That's,
Thank you.
I bet all the classes still online, isn't it?
Yeah.
I took that 2012 Peter Thiel class with JD Vance, or not JD Vance, Blake Masters.
Blake Masters.
Blake Masters wrote the notes. I was
Yeah.
in Cincinnati taking this course. Probably no, that was after I met you. But I probably found it because I was already looking at Stanford. But I took that was free online.
And that's what's so great about Stanford is it's a free for all. And then they gave me another giant lead because they closed the door because of what I did to Stanford. They just closed the door. They're like, we're not letting any professor get owned like that. I'm like, don't you want that? It's free on the internet. I'm like, you guys invented the internet, or at least Yahoo and Google. Don't you want that? Banned for life.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Until I'm athletic director, because I don't want to be president of anything. I want to be athletic director. Right?
Shake the wokeness out of me.
Or just like solve athlete problems, and then the wokeness will just take care of itself.
There you go.
Thank you. It's like a jock strap, like an athletic supporter. Right? Because athletes, you don't need coaching in the athletic director position. You need a financial model, which is Lisa Falzone, which is Jessica, which is those donuts. Because you go TechCrunch, Disrupt, Rolla both up. Thank you, Rolla, for buying us breakfast. Taking Booth Babe Jessica, Booth Babe Lisa Falzone to becoming a unicorn founder, We can talk about other stuff. Besides money and Larry's angst. They have delicious Eggs Benedict here. What are you guys hoping to get out of SaaS Talk that is so that way when we do this again next year, we all grow? Yeah.
For me, it is meeting new companies. So one of the things I really like is a lot of companies walk in the room. I don't know 80% of the companies there
Okay.
because I know so many others. You know, most of the shows I walk into and I know everybody. And this is an event where I don't know that many companies in there, so a lot of them are new. It's really building new relationships. For me, a win is getting podcast interviews. So working on the 100th episode and specifically having a dozen, 15 different founders in that episode instead of just one.
Do you like the idea of a green room, a SaaS Talk green room, but it's in the hallway and it's pre-lit for media? And it's
I would love that.
pre-wired?
Yeah,
right?
we did that at Founder Path at SaaS Open, I guess is what it was.
Hey.
Nathan's event. Yeah, he did that. So he had a podcast stage. You could reserve it. I think that would be ideal.
We should co-found that outside of SaaS Talk and then sell it to SaaS Talk between $0 and $300,000, depending on how much they're going to try to screw us. But if we get screwed, guess what? We benefit, right? Because it took us 1/50th of breakfast. Why don't you talk about the other 49/5 of breakfast? There was some emotional shit that we all caught. Do you like that?
I think it's a brilliant idea.
Cool. We can be co-founders of that.
I'm in.
And it's the 214 number, Jared. Okay. What about you guys? What can we do? How can this breakfast, aside from the emotional baggage that I just shared, how can this breakfast breakfast be your entire ROI for this SaaS stock and the next SaaS stock?
Good question.
Not a good question. And by the way, breakfast is on me.
Well, the tickets were free, so that's pretty much covered the ROI already.
The tickets to SaaS stock were free.
Yeah, we got free tickets. Yeah, I think.
I'm glad that you're honest about sharing that. Like, Chase, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna pretend like you paid 40 grand.
Yeah, we want ROI.
Yeah, right.
Big ROI.
There you go.
Let's pretend like you flew private against Larry Chang's better mentorship, because anytime my friends fly private, I'm like, death rate kind of higher. Okay, so
2
you
days
spent
of time is worth a lot.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
So you spent 40 grand. How are you gonna get that ROI?
Well, I kind of came in this through Jeff in a way, and literally my only thought, I was saying I don't have an agenda for this event, but really my agenda was just to jump in and see what happens and see how this works and see what's going on. And the fact that I'm sitting here hearing this at this level, I feel like this is opening the door.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
Nice.
it's one of those things where I recognize what's going on if I don't even understand 80% of the details, but I get the gist of it. I get the gut, at an instinct level. I know that what's happening here is probably exactly why I showed up, but I could never have predicted that.
Wow.
So jumping in, seeing what's going on, and then processing it afterwards.
Wow. What have you seen that's significant that you want to delve into further while also thinking about execution? Is it your spin out? Because you're going early up downstream to like small market, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so how does this breakfast and the prior architecture that we laid out help you for your corporation? Because you bought it and then made it better, right?
Yeah, and I've been doing what I'm doing for a long time, but this is all new. The whole SaaS world is practically brand new to me. I've got subject matter expertise in small business operations, accounting, inventory management, and whatnot. And so we're looking at, we have a middle market product that's very modest, but I'm looking at coming down market to see what can happen. So that all I can do, right? I know how to do that. But I feel like I just stumbled into it's like, oh, this is how this shit actually works. All right, now the lights went on.
Yes.
I'm blinded by them, but this is how this works.
What's one of the oh my god, this is how it works?
Just the connections. Now, don't make me explain the donuts because I can't. But just just getting the sort of synergies between what essentially is, in people, and I don't know how the words for it, but you're leveraging things in really kind of genius ways that are not apparent, I think, to most people like me from the outside. So when I see this working, I instantly know, oh, this is how this actually works, and I'm digging that, even though I don't know that I understand it, but I get it at a gut level.
And do you see how, like, I'm gonna ask the next 7 questions are gonna be, oh my god, I'm calling myself a genius because, like, but you can feel how the next 7 questions have a level of preparation to them, correct?
Yeah.
Which is, when you bought it in 2008, were you buying a piece of turd that you're gonna make better?
Yeah, 2003.
2003.
Just the door opened. I had never owned a business before that. I was working for this business. It was a turd, and that's why I got it really cheap, which is all I could afford, was really cheap. And so now I have a vehicle at least. Now I don't know what to do with it, but at least I have a vehicle, and it's brought me, fast forward more years than I want to say, to this breakfast, and now I'm looking at it in a whole new way, thinking, why is my goal like this when all these guys are playing up here.
And do you
That
see
ain't
how-
right.
And do you see how like me and Nick wanted to meet you in 2003?
Well, I wish I had met you.
But this is time as a flat circle. Yeah. This is time as a flat circle.
Yeah.
Because this is time as a flat circle. So you bought it in 2003.
Yeah.
And then how did you have a management team? Did you take your pre-existing team for your last 30 thing and then
Well, I mean, I don't know quite what I got out of it. I didn't get rich out of it, that's for sure. But, you know, I saw it being done really poorly, put it that way, being run poorly in the ways I won't get into. And in a way, the management had driven it into the ground, which means they drove the price into the ground, which means I was the last man standing who was actually telling the truth to the investors who were getting fed BS from every other player. They trusted me enough. They canned the CEO. I had to go in the next Monday and can all of the executive team that he hired. It was just ridiculous the way the whole thing was set up. And then focus on what is there one thing that we actually have a chance of doing well and jettisoning all this other distractions that the business had gotten
think about
into.
what he just said. Think about what he just said right there. Think about what he just said there. Because that's what you and I and we and all of us is what was your original thing? Because when we sold Plancast, were you there for the We Sold Plancast party?
Yes. In Austin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So explain what happened there because that was the focus and it was hilarious.
Larry, I don't know if I remember this one perfectly, but
Use the donut.
Larry knew
Use
the
the donut.
founders of Plancast in some way. They were trying to raise money, but it wasn't going well. And Larry found a way to sell their business before they knew that they needed to sell their business, and then we threw a party around it. Yeah, that one was fuzzy.
This is what,
Wow.
You know what, Nick? You know what, Nick? I'm going to explain to you the genius that you participated in
Yeah.
while helping Dan with owning this path. Okay, so it was the We Sold Plancast celebration party.
Yep.
We had no buyer, okay? We had no buyer. Okay? The founders already had left for business school. Does this sound familiar? Y Combinator? Happens all the time. This is a YC Harvard bankruptcy. It's not bankrupt, it's just bankrupt in a complicated way that's hidden. What was your original thing that you wanted to do originally? Oh, well, this is our original thing. We wanted to be Foursquare for the future. We wanted to be geolocation for the future, the plan. Okay, did you have a vertical? No, everything for everyone, yet for no one. Sound familiar? Diversification.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, let's just do planning to go see movies with friends. We plan to go see movies with friends, right? Well then, why don't you plan to go see the movie that I'm in that nobody wants to go see? I want to be in a George Clooney movie, right? I can't move the needle, or can I, using technology, juice the numbers for a movie? So then we pick a shitty one with a cartoon character, so that way George Clooney wouldn't come. Chang fucked up my opening fucking weekend, and like we hung out all those weekends up in Scottsdale, wherever, and fucking my shit up that opening fucking weekend. No, I used a cartoon character because I didn't know if my algorithm worked, which was Mr. Peabody. He's a cartoon character. He's not going to kill anyone. It's a fucking cartoon. And so we juiced the numbers for Plancast, calling it the Mr. Peabody, and then I wrote a piece at Harvard called Mr. Peabody Teaches You the Fifth Epiphany. Because that's just an extra fuck you to people who call me fraud. I come on fraudulent sounding. So then in Harvard Business School, I wrote this piece called Mr. Peabody Teaches You the Fifth Epiphany. And then that movie launch party got off to the races because it was the We Sold Plancast party. So that's the donut. So the donut is Mr. Peabody, the white donut, and then the brown donut is Harvard, and then the other brown donut is South by. Just having a we sold playing cast party. And this isn't genius for me. Oh, Larry's such a genius. Like I didn't understand it. I'm faking genius by having playbook plays run from 1983, baby. Mark McCormack. I'm gonna cry a little bit. Who loves you? I got him from a book from 1983 called "What They Don't Teach at Harvard Business School."
Genius.
Thank you. He's a genius.
Yeah.
And he did the senior golf tour. And those 3 donuts, okay, at the honey pot. Were you at the honey pot and the cookie for those
Yeah.
donuts?
You want the cookie on top of it?
Yeah, exactly. So the cookie on top was Mr. McCormack's coming divorce, okay? The honey pot is him, okay? And the donuts are the regular golf tour. Regular golf tour distribution, regular golf tour employees, regular golf tour business model. He just made all the golfers 10 years older. Because that's
Genius.
the senior golf tour.
Sequel business.
It's a sequel business. It's a sequel. And do you see why I want to grab you and be like, you know all this stuff, but you're denying it?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need the 10, you need the 10 mil. Or it's the Larry and Nick $9 million venture fund. You're like, what? Like, what? Why would you, like, do you see how now your marketing is sold out with like $900 million in LP money on deck?
Yeah.
Because then you can have a 7, and then what you do is you kick back all the LP money. If I kick back 100% of the LP money, what's that protocol called?
LCRRM.
Can you repeat that?
LCRRM.
Yeah, everyone's confused. What is that?
Larry Chang reverse rebate method.
And where did it come from?
Mark McCormack.
You like
You
how
should write that
scary-
down. Should write that down.
So what is the reverse
CRM.
rebate?
So LPs give us $9 million,
Yep.
which Rudy Garza. Do you meet Rudy Garza?
Yes, I met Rudy 10 years ago at South by when we were here at Glasgow.
He was my first LP.
Wow.
He's an angel investor, and so to answer your question, the LCRM is it's Mark McCormack. So Mark McCormack will give you back all of his agent fees if you're like, hey, Mark McCormack's like the best storage agent an athlete could have.
Brilliant.
And then be like, thank you. Do I really get my 30% back? Like, yeah, and your accurate deal that I just gave you, you can have that deal for free. And then everyone's like, oh, I need to give it more. And then now do you see the LPs? You're like, thank you for chipping in on the 9 mil, okay? We're gonna give you back all that money with warrants if you're a startup. With warrants. Thank you for coming.
Because
And-
now you've attracted other LPs. Is that the goal?
and now you're UTWM PPMing with an LCRM with an external API because you're like, you don't need money to make money. That's our thesis. We can join boards. My notes are spot on here.
Is that enough acronyms for you?
I'm going to record while I run to the bathroom because this is good stuff.
So then the board, do you need to join a board and invest money before you run that board? You do not.
No.
You can run the board as an auxiliary board. You don't need a board of director. A board director can fire you. An auxiliary board member comes in, makes you French toast, okay, on a fucking hot plate, just like this, but upstairs where it's private because the board meeting, okay, brings a fucking dog, okay, and like takes pages of notes, and people are like, are you the catering bitch, or are you the sales guy, or are you head of technology? Like, what the fuck is fucking going on? Like, can I get more of these French toast pancakes with like chocolate chips? Like,
So, in the context of David, or just more general?
$5,000 triples. Everyone's confused.
Sure. Yeah. So the question is, are you willing to pay $5,000 to triple?
Triple what?
Your income.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that you're willing, basically what we'll do is we'll triple you, and you don't even have to send us the $5,000. You can keep it in your own internal escrow. And once
Where's
we-
internal escrow from?
From Mark McCormack.
Exactly. Internal escrow, one-way letter of intent. Oh, we're just a half a step away from contract. Blah 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 blah. Our deal's never gonna close. Blah blah blah. Internal
Which
escrow,
we also
one-way
did
letter
with
of intent.
Neil.
Internal escrow, one-way letter of intent.
Yeah.
Which we also did with Neil.
Yeah. The breakfast, the 29K at breakfast. One-way letter of intent. And so we'll triple you, and then once we triple you, then you can send the $5,000. But
So what Chase is talking about is micro. So on a micro scale, but on a micro scale applied, you want to do so well with that money in internal escrow, the 29K, that they start to panic because like they don't have a deal in writing. Okay? They are getting massive value. Like they're getting you just protected their 6 figures at mining disrupt, which is basically money flushed down the fucking toilet. And then it's a sponsorship. And it's money flushed. Just like when we do the green room at SaaS, okay, that 250K, that's money flushed down the toilet unless they can like try to get their ROI immediately. So you want to do such a good job with that 250K that they're like, holy crap, we need to get something in writing, and I need to get you this money. And then they're gonna panic to give you that money because guess what? With 29K, it was too cheap. Now he's in, so donut. So see that cookie? I'm the cookie. I'm the cookie. I'm the cookie. And now your whole entire plate of food is more valuable. And people are like, what if the cookie gets eaten by somebody else? Which is every person with money's fear. Which is what we need to do, Nick, to install that fear. Is you and I put a cookie on top of somebody else's money. No puns intended. No other metaphors extended. Because now you've got a chance to DJ in another API because now you're engineering up a tidal wave of momentum, perpetual promotion machine, but with an engineering kind of slant to it.
So Larry, normally when I think of funds give money to businesses in exchange for equity. So how would the $5,000 internal escrow apply in the case of a fund? Because the fund usually gives the money rather than collecting
I don't know,
the
Chase.
money.
I don't know, Chase. That's a good question. Can you answer it? Repeat the question. Repeat the question to yourself.
Okay, I'll give a try at it to see where.
And can you repeat the question for some of us that got lost?
How does this apply to a fund, the internal escrow, where the fund normally would give the company money?
That's why he's rich.
But then this is where the simultaneous close would come in. And so this is where you would find the company, negotiate with the entrepreneur, figure it all out, get them to agree upon the deal. You wouldn't even need to have your LP's money done yet. You wouldn't even pitch. That's what I did. I didn't pitch any LPs. I got the entrepreneurs, proved that I could get on the cap tables and had really hot deals. So then when I went back to the LPs, I felt confident being able to pitch them that I could have those deals. But I was really talking to those entrepreneurs but I was upfront and transparent with them with where I was at in my process, but I was talking to them without money. But they were also still asking me to get on capital. I was still providing them a shit ton of value, they're asking me to invest, and then they're like, if you don't have any money, like, can we just get you on our cap table? Can we give you equity? That's what they're doing. And then they just get to a point where they ask, can I give you equity to talk to you?
Can you repeat that? Where the founder wants you in
And
the
so
cap
the founder, so what I realized when I got my name out there, I wanted to test if I could get good deals. So I started talking to these entrepreneurs. I didn't have the full money of the LPs done yet. I needed to prove that I could get the deals. But after talking to them so long, they didn't even care or want my money. They just wanted to give me equity so they could keep talking to me longer.
I love that. Jeff, will you hold this for a second? So what Nick is talking about is the Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Larry Chang format of a deal. Like, go on.
Well, go tell
No,
Larry.
you go.
You explained
You
to
go.
me the Tom
go.
Brady. That Tom
You
Brady
go.
invested $650 million in FTX, and everybody thinks he looks like an idiot. And Larry's talking around that he's just laughing all the way to the bank because he didn't invest in $650 million. They probably gave that to him as a sponsorship deal, which he then reinvested into FTX. But really, it was just math that FTX moved their magic money shit coin from one side of the ledger to the other and gave it to Tom Brady. And then when it all blew up, it didn't matter. But now FTX was involved with Tom Brady was a sponsor of FTX, which helps the perpetual promotion machine. Blah blah blah. But it was all bullshit.
So this is how specifically it works when you're friends with Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, and Nick Tipman. Okay, which is if you want Michael Jordan's $6 million into Citadel, and thank you Rolas Volta for this breakfast because Rolas Volta also invested into Citadel. This is how the Michael Jordan deal works. This is also how the Tom Brady and Larry Chang deal works. If you want me to invest $6 million, you find me $10 million in cash. I just explained to you what Web 4 is. I just explained to you what Web 4 is, which is older than Web 1. Why are you laughing?
It's like, what, you taught a Ponzi? No, he said I explained to you.
Yeah,
Web 4, yeah.
this is Web 4. This is the original Ponzi. So I'm going to wrap up 9 topics that are you guys' brains about to explode? I'm going to wrap up 9 things. Michael Jordan, if you want him to invest $6 million, you give him 10 cash. And he thinks about giving you 6 of the cash. Let me repeat this, okay? He is cash flow positive, just like I'm somehow cash flow positive buying you guys breakfast. It's the Kaiser Soze, Satoshi Nakamoto, Larry Chang situation, where you're willingly, I almost said unwillingly, eating breakfast and somehow getting rich, eating food, while trying to figure out like this donut thing. Am I the honey pot? Am I the donut? Am I the cookie? Am I another cookie? Is this a three-way? Larry's heterosexual, right? I'm so confused. I'm so thankful for being here because this is Michael Jordan and Tom Brady. Loved Larry Chang right away. Look at Chase's brain's about to blow up. His brain's about to blow. This is Michael Jordan. Keep it on Chase. Keep it on Chase. This is Michael Jordan. Those two dudes love me right away. Why? Because I am so raw and real, and I'll tell you, hey, I really enjoyed seeing you. Ditto Steve Kerr. Like, I really enjoyed seeing the fact that you never fucking start, and you tell me about your mentor mentions, because all I do is hear you mentioning mentors. What happens, Mr. Kerr, when you mention a mentor? What happens? What happens to them? Do they call you? Do they text you? Thank you, Larry. Thank you, strange, awesomely glowy Chinese man. Okay? Right? Like, thank you for asking that question. Sometimes people don't ask me that question, so thank you. Tell me your name, Larry. Tell me your last name. You're not gonna remember my last name. Like, just answer the question. I really need to know what your last name is before they answer the question, which is, tell me about that deal that you did, Mr. Jordan. Tell me about, and then I was there for the Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan 7 shoe conversation, where Jeter was like, hey, my cleats hurt my feet. Wouldn't it be great if I could put cleats underneath these Jordan 7s? So So Chase, since your brain's about to explode, show me the Jordan 7. I'm the white donut. You know, and I'm the honey pot. Jordan is the white donut. Jeter is the brown one.
So these are the Jordan 7s.
You tell me.
Yeah.
Jordan 7 needs to be attached with a cleat.
Jordan, Derek Jeter. The cookie is you.
You tell me. We're in your brain right now.
Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, we're happy to be in your brain.
So, remind me earlier, you were the cookie on. Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
What's the
You're the
problem?
cookie.
What's the problem?
Jordan wants cleats on the bottom of his.
Jordan or Jeter?
Oh, Jeter.
Jeter plays shortstop and he plays baseball.
Was that what you were saying, Jeter or Jordan? Because I heard Jordan. Jeter.
We switched the conversation. Now Jeter and Jordan were talking together. And
Okay.
Jeter's cleats sucked. We're telling Jordan. I love my Jordan. These are two that was cleats on the bottom.
I see. So, Jordan, Jeter, Larry, and this is the idea of the cleats and the shoe, the Jordan shoes merging together. Yeah, that's my answer. I'm locking it in.
Do you see why the cookies and the donuts were so critical?
Visualize.
Thank you.
Need to
Thank you.
visualize.
External APIs and Chase's brain. You see the donuts? Like, you'll never forget the donuts thing.
Yeah.
And Ray's like, the fuck are people playing with my food?
Right. Kid, he wants to eat one already.
These famous donuts.
And you see why details matter? Because he was so detail-minded that he understood the difference and heard the difference as to who benefited when. As to who benefited when. And then all you need to do is just realize that you're not just the honey pot. I'm really good with insults. Like,
It keeps things entertaining. You can't deny that.
And it helps.
Not have fun.
does that answer your 5K question sufficiently with the
Yeah.
fun?
Yeah.
Nick, do you have anything to add to the answer? Because your answer was genius too.
Nothing to add. I'm just trying to still always get around it. But actually where I was gonna go, so I didn't even go with my answers. What I realized is people are asking me to be on the cap table and be the advisors, but what I really wanted to get to is getting them to say yes to letting me invest, not investing yet, and then that's where you go find the acquirer or know the number. You already know the number in their head then that has a value of where they're at, and if you went and got anything over that value in cash, then an entrepreneur has to make a decision pretty quickly. They haven't been locked into a higher valuation though, so they're not screwed. You don't have other investors that are and so you could get them to take your money, establish the valuation, take that, go sell it, come back to the entrepreneur, allow them to put your money in at the same time that they then sell the business to the other company, and you theoretically would take your LP's money, never risk it, and put it straight into a deal that 3 to 5x it immediately.
Do you see the genius? Do you guys see the genius in that? Are you breathing? Do you see the genius in that snippet? Do you see the genius in that snippet? Because that is everyone's new model for going forward. The entire ROI of SaaS stock for the next 5 SaaS stocks. Is that last snippet? Tell them about Waze. Tell them about Waze in South by. Waze South by, go.
I don't know.
case studies matter. When I say Waze, what do you say?
I say hashtag external API.
With what Nick was talking about.
So I just don't recall all of the background, but there was something with Waze where wasn't Waze acquired by Google? And so Waze used Waze, the mobile wave. Everyone has phones where they're able to contribute to this platform of maps and traffic and police, and then and Google Maps, and they worked on something together where Waze connected with Google to stack up. Yeah,
to
exactly.
drop their data.
A double decker.
Where's my angst? Where's my angst? Where's my angst from Waze? Why do I get so angry when you guys send me Apple Maps shit? I blow up. Why?
There's something about a deal where there was supposed to be a deal that happened
This is ASU engineering. This is ASU engineering.
later. They wanted to buy. You told Waze not to sell to Google yet, and they sold anyways.
This is
Too early.
ASU engineering versus University of Illinois engineering. Because that took like forever.
Yeah.
Because when Nick talked, you should have been like, oh, Larry, this is exactly your Waze deal. So I helped Waze win South by Waze, the navigation app, for less than $2,000 because the CEO from Israel had met scam artists that were Israeli that talked exactly like me without the engineering degree, without the professional athlete background, without the daily line experience, without the awards in engineering back to back to back to back. You just heard the words. Without the PhD mother from Yale, without the PhD father from MIT. Like you just thought that the words themselves didn't have like a background. Do you like what I did?
Yeah.
Because it's funny.
You're hilarious.
Without those car salesmen.
Hilarious.
Hilarious. Without being number one in car sales. Okay. While graduating with the highest starting salary in engineering. He was like, there's no way that you can be this much of a scam artist. I'm like, what budget do you have known to win South by? Because I know I can win South by for $0. Tell me a fuck you number. And it was $2,000 in 2013. I'm like, $2,000? Does that include the flight? Yeah. Like, how about hotel? Yeah, $2,000 all in with the badge. Because I is Hugh Forrest would just carte blanche badges. Because like anybody who gets a badge from you is going to be next year's winner. Oh, thank you, Hugh. Thank you for helping me help you, which is SaaS Talk. I'm the SaaS Talk, and then next year we're doing SaaS Talk. Gnome gives me $2,000, and I take the intern named Miha, the dude named Miha, okay? The dude named Miha. We went South by. We only got a day and a half, and I bought a bag of Kermit, the top 10 Sesame Street, because we didn't have a budget. So I bought 13 Kermits from the dude who owns the Four Seasons. He's my friend. He sells fucking stuffed animals. Taiwan. Billionaire. Bag of Taiwan Beanie Babies that is a Kermit. And we went South by. Because we didn't have employees. Like we brought a fucking intern and 13 Kermit the Frogs. And people are like, can I have one of those Kermits? Yeah, if you write about Waze. charger. Those cost like $1.80. Does that sound familiar to you? Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
And so we won ways, and I go back, and he's like, oh, like even more upset because I actually did it. You don't want to give me a fuck you task, I'll fuck you back hard. And then he goes, we're selling this thing for $1 billion. I'm like, I got my buddy who's willing to buy this piece of turd. Steve Jobs. Like, he's a buyer. Because Apple Maps fucking sucks. $5 billion on the hook. I was gonna make $230. Do you get why I get so upset at you two now? Okay?
Yeah.
Because I'm a venture capitalist with like $60. Or right now $400 because $400 in my pocket is worth more than you, Roloff Botha, the #1 VC in the world.
CEO Sequoia.
He's the #1 VC in the world. Roloff. I met him when he was Nick Tippett. Roloff Botha.
When he was CFO of PayPal?
Yeah. Now you gotta be wondering how old is Ray Chase. Don't ask these kind of questions. Do not ask these kind of questions. Different rabbit hole. And so that's external API, and that's like wrapping up all these different topics together to explain like how money works. And that's the ways. Like the dude was on a 5-week vacation. Like, wait to sell after the M&A dude gets back from vacay. Just wait like no time, because he was gonna like blow his marriage just to buy a stupid fucking app that they could build themselves. And $5 billion, like you make $8 billion out of $5 billion. So these two, when they're like, oh, this is where we're at, Apple Maps. I'm like, oh, every time I see Apple Maps, I'm like, I really needed that 230. I really needed that 230 million to like push the decimal point nowhere. Not a rounding error, but definitely something emotional. Because I was literally in the Waze office. I was literally in the Waze office running their APIs for them. Where I got the biggest office inside of the Waze office. Bigger than the CEO's. He wanted me. I'm like, I'm here for free. Let me give you more money. This is also how to be a VC. Because you office in a startup, and then you guac until they pit the meeting room. So you literally take over their meeting room. And then whenever anyone goes in the meeting room, hey, Chang, get the fuck out, we got a meeting. Me and my dog, okay? Move 6 feet. I'm not fucking working in that office. Talk on the phone. I can talk on the phone in the bathroom. But the office is decorated. That conference room, so when you're sitting in there, you're like, we're in Larry Chang's brain or armpit or butthole, depending on the status of your employment. In the meeting room. So you literally external API in the meeting room with playbook plays. And you see how you just office in their office. Like you want to be a board advisor, like nobody wants to go to your 98 San Joaquinto office. Nobody. But what do people want to do? They want a cool meeting room that you decorate. You put a little pad for the, you know that machine that hits speakerphone, okay? Nobody brands it like a pad where you would silk screen a mouse pad. And that way, when you look at the thing, you're like, oh, do I have paper notes? Am I gonna double this company? If not, what the fuck are you talking on that speakerphone for?
It's attractive to do big deals.
Which say?
So it is attractive to do big deals.
For free. For free.
Have a coffee.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who's hungry?
I could eat.
Nice. Eggs Benedict, or you want to shop?
No, that's what stood out to me.
Nice. Make it easy for you.
Yeah.
Make it easy for Chef. Speaking of Eggs Benedict, I got a GM here. I got a cook here named fucking Brian to be a GM by doing Eggs Benedict. I'm not even like overstating the truth. So I'm like, just do an Eggs Benedict station upstairs. And do like 7 kinds of Benedict upstairs, running an API from the kitchen.
Thank you.
He didn't get paid. He didn't get paid because he had to do extra work to do the Benedict.
That's genius.
It's genius.
Yeah.
Because like, you just do a salmon, you do a ham, you do like a barbecue pork, you do a guacamole, and it's just like some of the most basic things. Like, this Benedict's the bacon Benedict. And you're like, oh my god, the bar is so good. The bar is so good. Nick, we should do a Benedict. We should do a Benedict brand activation.
No way.
And maybe change it from Eggs Benedict, because Benedict Arnold,
Okay, yeah.
to do like a SAS branded Benedict. And then get SAS stock to like buy that franchise for $3 million.
Sax Benedict.
Nice.
I like that. I like SAS Benedict.
Yeah.
I just like SAS Benedict.
Sounds
Yeah.
it sounds good.
It sounds good.
Rolls.
Flows.
Yeah.
I like that.
Hashtag Sass Benedict.
And then I like that. And also we could sell SAS stock tickets and earn 0% commission. It'll take you how long to do that?
Hopefully as soon as possible.
No, how much time?
How much time to do the tickets?
Yeah, or how much time total from soup to nuts?
Take like 15 minutes.
Do you see how crazy that is?
Sell it.
Does that include time at the event for you to be a 1-minute party?
Yeah.
Basically under half an hour. Which you're doing engineering up a tidal wave and a perpetual collision machine. Would you like a SAS Benedict before SAS Stock? SAS Stock is next year in Austin. Would you like to come to a SAS Benedict party 4 months before SAS Stock? With 2 podcast promos with Roll Up Both as a sponsor. Or 3 VC sponsors. And that's, again, back on the donuts. And then you may not make any commission, but it doesn't matter because it took you less than 30 minutes. And then you try to be cash flow positive at breakfast. Cash flow positive at breakfast. If there's breakfast coupons,
Where they at?
it's already done.
Did we get any rebates today? We didn't have any. Do we have any takers on the rebates on the tickets?
I love that. The rebates, the LCRM rebate.
It's $100 ticket for this dinner, or for this breakfast.
I like that. Were you in for like 100 and then I was gonna give you like 80?
Yeah.
That's the rich guy deal.
Yeah.
Where you don't get all your money back.
Right.
Hilarious, isn't it?
Yeah,
Those were the
yeah,
numbers
yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
Those were the numbers yesterday. Tell them about your LCR when you pulled the trigger.
Oh yeah. So
This is busboy to million.
I couldn't even comprehend the fact that I could throw my own event. It was just always, oh, you go to other people's events, you don't do your own. And so Larry would throw this money at me, and I wasn't processing it. And then it wasn't until he said, pay me $42. No, guess the number between 40 and 50. I said 42. It's like, pay me $42. You show up here, and I'll give you $50. That's when I was like, okay, wow, there's money on the line. Because Larry always bring up that you need to prime the pump, always moving around money, because our brain doesn't really tell the difference between large sums versus small sums. So people were there. I promote it. It goes out pretty well. It turns out pretty well. First event ever.
Nice.
And then Larry gives me the $50, pulls it out, and then everyone just like stops talking. It's like, why is he handing this guy money? Everyone's like asking questions now. Why is this guy? It's just $50. It's just $50, but everyone's like, what the fuck?
Intrigue.
And then tell me the story.
Do you guys see how that applies? Because I was just about to ask a question. How did that emotionally make you feel when I gave you the $50? This is SaaS problem. You're welcome.
Huh.
This is a SaaS problem of free. How
Don't
many?
value it.
What?
Don't value. We don't value free.
And then, so do you see how like LCRM is solving that problem? Free SaaS is a problem. The solution is LCRM. And do you see the emotional relief and dopamine hit when you get the 50 back on the 42? Because
It feels like 50, not 8.
it feels like 50 because when you do the 100 for 80, the 80, it feels like a fresh 80. Wait a minute, they're just charging me $100. You're gonna be, oh, wow, it's $80.
Yeah.
Cash in hand.
And now think about it as if it's like, okay, you're doing $25 a month. If you say something positive because you did something, you don't even need to say something wrong. Just use it once. You use it once, I'll give you back all $25. Or use it once and say something positive. Now you've just gotten paid for them to do your advertising for you, which is SaaS stock and SaaS stock. Jason,
Jason Lumpkin?
yeah, because he ran that.
Ran what?
The reverse rebate model
Oh, did he?
when it was first started.
Yeah. Interesting.
Because he
I
didn't
can
want
see
to.
that.
You can totally see that.
Yeah. He would totally.
Yeah, and people just run the same plays from 1983. It's just a genius billionaire do millionaire do. When it was hard, the game went hard. Do you love this? You guys love this?
Yeah.
You guys love this? Do you love this?
It's great.
I like being here.
What's a good Mark McCormick story? Didn't he found IMG down in Florida? Our CEO founder studied IMG and coached Little League. He took a Little League baseball team outside of Chicago from the projects all the way to the Little League World Series. But he used to go study at IMG, and he used to go study at Coach K's practices, and then study at Kansas's practices. But then I never put that together. I was looking up either Mark McCormick or IMG maybe a year ago or so or something, and put those two together.
Who's this?
Mark McCormick and IMG.
No, who?
Oh, and our founder CEO at Green Lake Guru he was a Little League coach, took a kids that never played baseball to the Little League World Series, and then he was a high school basketball coach for 15 years too.
What's his name?
David Graham. But he's he's obsessed with IMG and excellence and pushing.
Didn't you do Dave Graham's job for him? I got confused.
No, I was. It was a good team.
Okay. Isn't this what we're gonna do with Josh?
Josh who?
Josh the dude.
Oh, yeah.
that canoe.
Yeah, he can definitely do that. Yeah, 100%.
I like you.
Same play.
I like you. I think we're gonna do Eggs Benedict. Okay, so you're doing Eggs Benedict.
Yep.
What are you doing?
I'll do the American breakfast, please. Over easy, please.
Same.
Definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. This is such an interesting dynamic with 3 brand new friends and 3 incredibly like entrenched friends. Because it like kind of removes the burden of it removes some of the burden while getting existing momentum and then getting into conversations late because I took notes for your guys' follow-ups or whatever. That's just something I noticed.
What burden?
The burden of friction. Good question. It's the burden of friction.
That's in an existing group of friends?
The friction of starting up a friendship.
Oh, because there's friends that, yeah.
Right, and then so you guys get an accelerated both intro and delving into topics that wouldn't get talked about
Yeah.
aside from the surface, which is actually a cheat prevention because the way I speed seduce dudes like Michael Jordan and Tom Brady is by getting in incredibly late by doing interventions. It was like, hey, I had a question about this press conference. Do you remember that press conference? Yeah. I totally remember that press conference. Like, okay, well, you mentioned this. Like, what happened when you mentioned that coach? Did that coach like reach out to you afterwards? Because that's a big deal. You're like, wow, thank you for asking me an intelligent question. Maybe we can get you in a press conference. That's what they always say. And you're like, well, we can make that happen if you just sign on my business notebook. My business notebook. Oh, here's my business notebook. And then you pull it out and you're like, what's wrong with you? And what's genius about you that you're carrying around a monster notebook?
That's actually how me and David Duran, the CEO of Greenlight, connected originally. It was through a notebook. We both, first time we ever met, he was speaking at an event, and I went up and I talked to him after. I asked him some really hard question on stage. It's like, he jokes around and says, like, what was the LTV to your CAC to the square root of 3 or something? Like,
Who's this?
crazy.
Yesterday's conference call?
No, our CEO back 12 years ago
When you
when I
met
met him, and I asked him some really challenging question on stage. I didn't realize that I did at the time, or like what I was asking. I had no idea. Completely ignorant. He's like, "We'll take that offline, Sparky." Anyway, so I talked with him. I didn't actually say it, but he's like, "We'll talk after." And and I talked to him after, and I pulled as soon as he started talking, I pulled out my notebook and just started writing away. And that was like the beginning of our relationship. I just posted on LinkedIn when I was packing to move down here, going through. I found that old notebook and I opened it up and took a picture and it had.
I'm getting fucking goosebumps right
It
now.
had the note. It had the note from our first
I'm getting
conversation.
motherfucking goosebumps right now.
Yeah, no, that was how we connected originally.
Fuck, I wish we had this on video. Oh wait, we do. That's amazing.
Yeah. I actually get the video, the picture of the note.
I want to fucking see it.
Yeah.
If you want to speed seduce men, okay? Notebooks.
Mine's packed. I packed all my notebooks
Hold it up
I
like-
have.
hold
I
it
have
up like
this
it's
many.
money.
I don't have them with me. It's in my pack.
Hold it up like it's
crazy.
money. Hold it up like it's money. Are you okay over
Oh, you
there?
got a whole set.
Are you selling those? Are you?
Yeah, I'm selling them. $50.
But you'll give me how
Do
much
you have
back?
them color coded?
Huh?
Do you have them color coded?
You choose your
Jim's got a question.
Dan had a question.
Jim's got a
It's a good
question.
This play's got to be deeper than that,
Good question.
right?
Good question.
Because that's
well,
too simple.
Let's see. It's got to do something with 3x in your income.
Okay.
And if we do that, I'll give you $50 back.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you think, Larry? On the LCRM notebook deal?
I'm not in this transaction.
Cause I just bought these for $50 from Larry when I first did it. So I was-
Is that true?
This orange one I think I bought it for more.
I'm a dick.
Yeah, I think I bought it for more. No, I bought it for more. No,
I could
put
see
it
that. I could see me doing that.
Yeah,
But I'm a dick.
yeah,
Did you get ROI out of it though?
yes,
But also, I'm a dick.
yeah. He was like, you know what? I need to buy these notebooks. And then
yeah.
do 50.
Tell him what we did to like this other dude.
Chris.
Yeah.
All right. So the way it's supposed to work is a notebook is $50. You get the notebook, and then it's called reverse MLM. So when you buy a 12-pack of the same notebooks, now you can go and sell notebooks for $50. And when you buy that 12-pack of notebooks, that's when you start get $50 back. So it's the Larry Chang reverse rebate method where you get your money back, but it's after you buy a 12-pack
Right.
so that you can also do the same.
Did you call it reverse?
Reverse MLM.
It sounds like an MLM.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is where you don't carry any inventory. There's no pyramid. It's a zero layer pyramid.
Yeah.
It's a decentralized MLM. Because people have also accused me of doing MLM shit. I'm like, hey, let's meet for coffee. And they're like, are you gonna pitch me some MLM stuff? I'm like, don't let the fact that I sound like an MLM guy cloud you from the fact that I spoke at Harvard Law School, okay, and keynoted about 100 keynotes at Stanford Engineering School, okay, because those things, even though they're overlapping, don't overlap. And so keep going with the Chris thing.
Chris, this is where Chris comes into play. So I do reverse MLM to Chris with the notebook, and it's you get your $50 back when you buy a 12-pack of notebooks. And so we're at breakfast, and Larry asks Chris, he said, hey, have you gotten the notebooks yet? And I don't know why, but Chris lied. And Chris said, yeah, I've gotten the notebooks. I bought the 12-pack. And Larry goes, if you show me your receipt, then you'll get the $50 back. Otherwise, it goes to me. And Chris goes, oh, okay, let me look for the receipt. Stares at the computer for like a couple of minutes. I don't know what was in that kid's head at the moment, but doesn't pull up a receipt, and so Larry snipes the $50 because Larry had a 12-pack of notebooks
For him.
for him.
As dual track execution, which is the key to all founder execution. Nick loves this shit. Nick's gonna start
He's
doing
gonna
this.
do it. Do it
Nick's
for
gonna
him.
start doing this to like SaaS founders, and he's gonna get this like cadre trope following of cult, because Nick's status in the SaaS community is like legendary. And so this is how to haze everybody while inviting people into your fraternity or sorority, your fraternal org, because this is rankling. And so you snipe the 50, and then now they didn't have to pay a $7.5 million penalty, which happens all the time. Now you get to learn the lessons at the lower levels. Like Peter Thiel, back when he was like, Larry, I think fielding's gonna be a good thing. I'm like, how many motherfuckers even use a Palm Pilot to do near field communication? That shit still hasn't shipped yet. His original vision for Fieldlink and Confinity. So I'm like, let's do PayPal, and let's attach Microsoft Word docs. Now you're wondering how old I am. Why don't we attach fucking Word docs? Okay, don't even hide the fucking transaction. Just change line to and from amount, page line 38, which Elon still uses to figure out who shared his Twitter internal memo. Is you put the space somewhere hidden in the whole email.
Copy and paste it. The spaces still come over, and you can tell who's copy and pasted who did it.
Because every person has a different space.
Yeah.
Each employee gets a different
Yeah,
space.
it's coded.
Supreme Court might benefit from this technology.
That's right. That's right.
And it's open source because that's what we use for a CAPTCHA phrase. And then now that lesson is forever inked, and that $50 goes where? I'm not gonna spend that $50. That goes up on a wall of shame. So there's the wall of shame, okay? And now there's a wall of fame, which is my treasure map. So if my treasure map for you guys looks better than your treasure map for yourselves, Nick, your fault. But in a different way.
map.
But in a different way. Not in the way that you guys will. And do you like how like you guys don't catch any of the shrapnel?
Don't catch
Like
any of the what?
The new friends don't catch any of the shrapnel. That's what we were talking about when you guys are gone. I'm like, it's 3 old friends and it's 3 brand new friends. The new people don't catch any of the shrapnel, any of the collateral damage, any of the. But then now you're like, and I want to crush you guys in public because we'll all be rich together.
We like that.
Yeah, I know. Nick likes it. Nick likes
He
it.
loves the notebook. I think he loves the notebook.
Why do I
Nick
feel like
likes
I
it 'cause
better
it's
study
true.
the donuts before I see you next, or I'm going to be in big trouble.
Nick loves it because it's true.
All
These
the
two guys-
lessons are they're timeless principles and lessons from 1983 that if you can read it and learn it on your own, like clearly you guys have, you can reiterate, like, yeah, it was me 10 years ago. I could do that same thing on all these little plays and everything at the time. But I still remember the concepts of what you're saying, like in your gut, you know it instinctively, it is right.
Yeah,
But it
right.
is interesting and how you figure it all out.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get
So one thing that I see Larry do all the time is he'll do temperature checks. Like I saw him do it with a startup at the Bitcoin conference, like just pouring money for their business. But he'll do temperature checks. It's like about like, oh, you guys are gonna like buy me dinner. It's like you don't have to. It's like no, we'll buy you dinner. And then the other one is selling the notebook, where it's like, do you think this meeting that we're having enough? You could at least like was worth a little more than $50, right?
So what we can do, Nick, is the temperature check with chicken parmesan. Because how many times do you show up and you get stuck with the bill because the founders are like, "Will you pay for me?"
fair.
Right? There's another guy. What?
Also, Chris.
Also Chris.
Also, Chris said that.
And so the temperature check is we go eat at Fogo with no meat, me and you. We start the founder with a $15 bill.
That would be
There's
good.
There's a meat version that's like $35, and there's a no meat version for $15. Me and you eat for $15. We stick the founders with the bill, and we temperature check. We temperature check chicken parmesan. It's $22. We didn't drink anything, and then I asked the minority founder, like, this chicken parmesan dinner, like, you're treating me with a straight face. Oh, you weren't there yet.
Yeah,
It's funny. You can see me doing that, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And then Dan goes, "Oh no, dude, we're for sure trading. We're for sure trading." And then the minority founder hesitated.
Yeah.
That's a temperature check. Where you're hesitating for $22 chicken parmesan dinner. Like, what the f?
Yeah.
Like, you're thinking about raising $3 million at a 24 post. You're thinking about
Think
raising,
bigger.
right?
I think different.
Right? Like, why can't you just get $3 million in revenue? Which, that you guys are mixing up the donuts. Can you pass the donuts to me? Because I want to give my dog one. Is one of the donuts you guys left off. People fuck up the donuts all the time, obviously. But one of the donuts is Dan. So, explain. Explain LCUBS again with the donuts correct. With the chip and parmesan.
Thank you.
So we're talking about LCUVS and how Dan is one of the donuts.
You tell me.
Okay, well, Dan is the COO of immersion cooling company that he met with and just like essentially gave him a long consulting session. And our plan is to have these guys also be a part of that pre-party to Mining Disrupt. And the thing is, Neil isn't really big into immersion cooling at all. He went on a rant about how it doesn't help, and the other guys are immersion cooling. So we're bringing two different arguments to the event, two different sides. Like they're just gonna have a debate, basically. Yeah.
So we win if immersion cooling wins. We win if immersion cooling loses.
Yeah.
And so either way, there's a win.
Any ketchup or hot sauce or potatoes or anything?
Hot sauce for the green.
Cholula, Tabasco, Sorry.
And can I get more the chutney?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Thank you.
David, are you eating?
Huh?
Are you eating?
I don't know.
He was thinking about it.
Let's see.
Larry, should I eat?
You have any detail?
People are gonna think you're in a cult. People are gonna think you're in a cult with questions like that.
I'm trying
Tell
to
them about the
lose
cult.
weight, So
Well,
I would talk about the cult that now that it sounds like a cult that you're in, okay? Because now we need to talk about it. Right, Nick? Right, Nick? Sounds like he's in a cult.
any cult leader would want to be paid, and I'm not paying Larry.
What? This sounds.
They made it way better.
I know. We went from cult to MLM.
I don't know how to talk to that.
It's okay.
Larry, David, how would you talk to that? I don't know.
talk about what? Well, Larry
a cult accusation.
Okay, first, it's like Larry's been helping us with our diet. And our diet was shit. So that's why we're like, Larry, should I even eat this shit? Because, problem, how does this guy have more energy than us?
So it starts with not drinking. I'd imagine that.
Yeah, we don't
that's a
drink.
bit-
We don't
alright, well,
drink.
good.
We're not
Well,
doing
well
weed.
done.
We're not doing Adderall. We're not that.
Oh, good.
No.
Yeah, you got a clean mind. Yeah, you got
Yeah, we don't drink. Like, we'll go out and we'll say this. No, Larry will say this. It's like, David, let's go sell speed reading to women on Radio Street. And you're probably gonna do that drinking. How are you gonna do that when you're 3 drinks deep? You're not.
How big is it? You guys new friends? Be honest. How big is your
I don't know.
That's not a word I would use. I have a description. You are a disruptor. You're constantly disrupting patterns, whether in an individual person's head, or in a market, or with the donuts, or whatever. Yeah, because when you whip out the little notebook and they're saying, "What the fuck is this guy? Is he, is he a scam artist or a genius? I don't know, because now you got him on a hook because you're disrupting their patterns in their mind, and they will never forget you." Yeah.
literally on a hook.
So that's why we asked Larry, hey, should I eat right now?
Yeah, and
Do you see how it sounds really bad?
I know. That's why I was like,
Like, do you see
but
how
I'm
that
not.
sounds?
I'm not gonna eat. I decided because it hasn't been 15 hours since we last ate, which was 10.
I don't care that it sounds fasting, but that's why we needed to talk about the cult too.
Yeah,
Because,
yeah.
You know what? Let's talk about nothing. Therefore, let's talk about the cult. So, what else is cult like about the cult that you're in? What kind of cult is it? Does it have a centralized leader or a decentralized one?
Decentralized.
Have you had to make sacrifices yet?
No blood sacrifices.
Just not eating.
Like,
Or fasting. Is it just a little bit of fasting, your breakfast? Which, hey,
I actually normally
it'd
don't.
be great for you. Yeah, yeah.
oh, what else? What else is cult like?
Larry helped me break up with my girlfriend, who was holding me down.
Oh, this is not real.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's tough, man.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it actually really was. That was like 2 days ago too. So
Wow.
it's still kind of fresh.
Wow.
But it was the right thing to do because I fell in love with somebody who they weren't the right person. So
How did you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd you know?
So I've always known, but there was a part of me that was like hoping she would become better in certain categories, and she never did. And so her words always were, yeah, like I want this, that, and this, but her actions never quite aligned. So
Yeah.
and it was hard because like I wasn't like emotionally ready, but like mentally I knew I needed to do it right now. So
Yeah.
And Larry helped you really hard.
and Larry helped me with that.
Yeah. Just talking you through it or what? How? Yeah.
What was the first thing you asked?
Asked to you
Yeah.
about
Chase goes, hey Larry, I like these money bombs, knowledge bombs that you're dropping. Will you help me manage my relationship with Fogo de Chao, where I wasn't eating meat?
yeah.
And what I say?
Oh, you're asking the guy who's not married or something like that.
I don't want you asking me for a relationship with
Yeah. Yeah.
Like dates 1 through 4, I got nailed. No pun intended. Both times. After X amount of time, I have no clue. Then I start asking questions of basic first principles questions.
So Chase, what is becoming? And that was a big part of it. Where
Oh yeah. Tell her about the changes that she saw in you.
Yeah. There was one. It was last Monday. So not this Monday, but last Monday. I'd come back from being in Austin a weekend, and we kind of got into like a little bit of like not even an argument, just like there was emotion exchange.
Sure.
And she said, every week you come back like more strong and aggressive. Like she said it like it was a bad thing, but like I was like, that's awesome. Like,
Okay.
Where do you live?
I live in Dallas.
Okay.
Yeah. So
so
I grew up in Arizona, in Scottsdale, and I've lived in a few different places since I graduated.
Because you also look familiar to me.
Where did you?
I'm from Georgia.
Georgia. Okay. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works sometimes, you know.
What part of
Familiar
Dallas are you in?
faces. I'm in Uptown.
Okay.
You familiar with Dallas?
Yeah, I live in Frisco.
Oh, okay. So you're definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you should tell him about your first meeting with Larry. Like so much changed
Yeah.
after
Oh,
his
yeah.
meeting because I introduced him to Larry. Okay. And I was like, you gotta like meet this guy. And here's the thing: he comes for a 3-day event. What is it, Growth Day? Doesn't attend at all because Larry's
Yeah, that's what
all
this
ROI.
notebook is from. This notebook.
I
is
love
from that
Brendan
event.
Bouchard's thing. I love Brendan Bouchard.
Yeah.
I found him when he was like Nick Tippmann plus a year and a half. When Brendan Bouchard had left Accenture and then started motivational speaking. I literally met him on his first motivational speech. Brendan Bouchard. And he did a reporting thing for Growth. Because me and Brendan Bouchard had like exact similar background. Consulting and then side hustle. It's actually the George Clooney Up in the Air movie where he had a job firing people and then he had a side hustle job for like his keynote, which is how to do a spin out. And Dan, that's kind of what you're doing with the spin out. Internal to your own thing.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Like the speaking is the spin out from the.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
But then that's Growth Day.
Yeah, so Growth Day, I just moved to Dallas, and David and I had agreed I would come to Austin like very soon after I moved to Dallas to come visit. And so Growth Day shows up, and the week of, David's like, you gotta go to this. And I'm like, all right. So I dropped, I think it's like $300, $400 on the ticket, nothing crazy. and I drive down here, and I think I'm going to Growth Day, but really I'm going to Larry Chang Growth Day.
Yeah.
Sounds much better.
And it was. So we're literally right outside of the event, like downstairs in the Marriott by the Starbucks where the event's happening upstairs. And I meet Larry and I tell him about like what I'm doing. At the time, I was like a co-founding CMO of a startup, and we talked for probably a couple hours at that Starbucks. And Larry point blank was like, "You need to fire yourself from that startup," which was like really hard to hear at the time.
Well, yeah.
I'd already been, I was like a year into it, and was in an equity deal, and like, but it made sense.
Acting
Equity deal?
deal. Equity deal.
Yeah, an equity deal. Which was honestly not even that good either. The whole thing didn't make sense. Now that I know what I know, the whole thing didn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And I was basically learning entrepreneurship from somebody who never succeeded at entrepreneurship.
That's rough.
That's
Which
what
was
Larry was
always-
getting at with the relationship thing. Not that he didn't succeed. He was just saying that you only want to take advice from people that are in the situation that you're looking for. And so if Larry wasn't in your situation, you shouldn't ask him for advice. But
Well,
that's what I took the behind under what he was saying.
but it's actually funny because in the same sense that like I always had this like gut feeling with my now ex-girlfriend that like she wasn't the right one. I also always had this gut feeling with Rob, the founder I was working with, where I was like, is this really the right play for me as a young entrepreneur to learn from somebody who's never succeeded in entrepreneurship and in their 40s never done a thing successfully. So that was the moment where, and we talked about Mr. Peabody and the fifth epiphany, which Larry mentioned at breakfast today,
he did.
and it all made sense in that moment. So I was actually coming to that conference to hang out with David, meet Larry, and get leads for the startup, and it quickly turned into, okay, how am I going to tell the founder on Monday that I'm done?
Yeah, that's quick. Yeah.
Turn of events.
Tell them about how quickly you executed at JW for a table. A table.
Oh, the Anchor satellite?
Yeah.
Okay, so David helps executives and entrepreneurs speed read.
Nice. Love it.
And we did a pop-up event outside of Brendan Bouchard's event as it was wrapping up for the weekend on that Sunday afternoon. And it was the unofficial Brendan Bouchard book club was our pop-up event.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool.
Jeff, does it sound familiar to you?
Yeah.
I'm selling Brendan Bouchard for between $0 to $250K. That franchise. That exact franchise. And so I'm taking the external API, I'm bringing it inside the house. Pay me what you think is fair, or screw me. Either way, I win. Because it took you 4 hours.
Yeah.
Do you see how powerful that we can do this, Nick? Where we can spend 20 minutes running one of these plays, give it to people and be like, okay, what are you gonna do now, Miller Scratcher? Are you gonna pay me so you can get rich? Or are you gonna screw me and watch me continue, because you will never forget me after you screw me of the 250. Hey, not mil, 100 mil. I'm not talking 250 mil, like you're not quite at my level yet.
And 4 hours to do that is actually like sandbagging, because it was really like an hour and a half.
Think about that. To give him a franchise for one of the donuts, I won't make you do the donut exercise. You friends, we're friends, because we're eating. Fine. Larry, will you just let me eat in peace? Keep going.
Okay, so this event, this Brendan Bouchard Growth Day event's wrapping up. Third floor is the event. Second floor, we have a few tables, some balloons, David's like book club sign that comes out, books on the tables. Like it looks like something's going on. And we're on the second floor. Everyone's leaving, growth day, coming down the escalator, and so we have one guy running point, one of us running point, me or David, at the bottom of the escalator with a clipboard that says, or did we even have a clipboard? I think
We had a
just had
clipboard, but it
book.
didn't say anything
Oh,
on it.
We had Brandon Bouchard's book,
Yeah, I just hold it
High
as a book.
Performance Habits. Have you guys heard of that book? It's pretty good. Really good book, actually. And so everyone's coming from Brendan Bouchard's event and they see Brendan Bouchard's book and we're asking them, are you guys going to finish the book this weekend? Blah, blah, blah. Like saying stuff, getting people's attention as they're coming down the escalator. And as people respond, we direct that energy and go, oh, well, cool, we're doing the unofficial Brendan Bouchard book club right over here. And so the problem was people are leaving this event, they've got all this energy and excitement, they don't know what to do next. They're like, well, I guess I'll go home. But we direct that into a book club instead, where now we have an audience and we're co-founding the unofficial Brendan Bouchard book club right outside of Brendan Bouchard's event.
And we're giving people non-employee co-founder credits. It's the only time in venture capital that non-employee co-founder credits are given is here with everyone who's a VC from PayPal. It's only PayPal VC funded people. No one else does non-employee co-founder. And I've been talking about non-employee co-founder for years. And people just won't do it. Will you do it?
I believe so. If I remember the concept correctly, and we talked about it last time, coming up that you basically, so you came up with their idea, or I mean, Peter Thiel's the ultimate example with PayPal and how he shepherded. He wasn't one of the co-founders. He was the original investor. He really liked the idea. He was more a mentor until they begged and asked him to come on board and give him the co-founder title, and he joined the company. But he still ran his investment firm, but he did go full-time with
You're
PayPal.
mixing up PayPal with Palantir.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Peter Thiel didn't join Palantir the same way?
He joined Palantir the same way, but PayPal, he was the retard.
Well, that was Cofinity before, that's when him and Les started to get together, but when they originally started it, he was just the money on Stanford's campus.
I feel like
Yeah. Or at least that, yeah.
no, that's
But
correct.
yeah.
That's correct. I thought you were mixing up Palantir because
I don't know the
stories-
Palantir story that well.
It's more what you described was more Palantir than PayPal
Gotcha, okay.
because FieldLink became Confinity and he was already in on Confinity. And you see how the steps, like FieldLink, Confinity, PayPal. What you're doing is you're blending PayPal, Palantir.
Gotcha.
Technically you are correct, but specifically it's demoralizing because you mix up where the non-employee co-founder came in, especially from an LPVC standpoint.
From my understanding of the story, maybe I know.
Which story? Palantir?
No. PayPal, Confinity,
FieldLink.
and FieldLink. And FieldLink, who was the founder with Peter Thiel, was it Max Levchin was the original founder. He invested in Max. Max came from the University of Illinois. And then Max eventually convinced him to join Confinity full time. And then Confinity and Max came together, and then that became PayPal.
Right. And then Peter was actually not a non-employee co-founder. He was an employee co-founder.
He started out non-employee co-founder, investor. Investor, and then they pulled him in and made him. But I don't think they gave him. He wasn't the co-founder title when he was an investor until they pulled him in as the employee. They gave him the co-founder title.
And that distinction is critical because nobody wants to be a co-founder of a piece of turd.
Interesting.
Let me repeat that. Because nobody wants to be co-founder of a piece of turd.
Yeah, he
Whereas
wasn't
a
willing to
winner-
put his name on it
Whereas
until then.
with a winner has many parents. A loser is an orphan.
Right. Yeah.
In the LPVC
A lot of
community.
executive producers on that movie.
Yeah, right.
And that's non-employee co-founder. And that's what we did at Growth Day is we let people be non-employee co-founders
Thank you.
of the book club. So that way when Brendan Bouchard emails you, It's like, hey, what the F have you been doing? Like, I co-founded your non-employee, your unofficial book club. Holy fuck, this thing's actually taking off. We gotta go find fucking Jeff with the green room in the hallway.
Get on that
And get on
podcast.
that, and get on that podcast.
Yeah, that's right.
If you guys need to hop to keep your schedule, then we can do a podcast, at least one at whenever, like now, this week. It seems like okay, but if you guys need to hop for the rest of your guys' day, you guys
Mine
just
starts at 10.
My day starts at 10. Honeypot, can you repeat what you said?
No, the conference starts at 10. This is
right.
the morning, so
Day starts at
that's funny.
Honeypot, I'm sorry, Honeypot, what'd you say? Honeypot is hilarious. Honeypot's
It's a good spot to be.
Honeypot is hilarious. And then you take that cookie, you put it on a honeypot, you never spend money on the honeypot. Okay, Uncle Larry. I almost touched my honeypot. Oh my god.
Huh.
Oh.
Yeah. So you're good. No, it's across the street. So it's
What are you thinking about?
Probably the hardest way to make $10 million EBITDA a year is to build a conference business on the side of the venture firm. So the ecosystem, what Jason Lemkin has done with SaaStr is pretty interesting and reliable. So he built his flywheel with SaaStr, which is part of the model that I put together. Go-to-market fund is also part of the model as well. We'll talk about the differences is really with the LP strategy. But Jason Lemkin bought his own freedom by becoming his own perennial evergreen LP by creating SaaStr, which is his conference business, which creates his cloud, his influence, gets him his deal flow, and makes him who he is, but is also a $10 million a year EBITDA conference business that he runs with less than 10 employees. That then is his only, then he is his only LP of his own fund. He runs a $100 million fund every couple years, and maybe he has some other ones in there, I don't know, but he also was founder CEO, sold DocuSign to Adobe and did really well there. But his long-term plan, he did that so he doesn't have to have LPs and he can build that. And so part of my strategy, having ran a media and conference business before and built that and sold that, was to basically run the same play back again, but make it around vertical SaaS instead of all SaaS, and find a way to differentiate from SaaStop and SaaStr here, and be able to run a conference business on the side that also gets me my deal flow. But that way, I always talk about that honeypot. I don't have to touch the honeypot ever. I always have a constant flow of cash, but then also are doing the VC and have the.
I'm gonna put
big
you on
one
pause
upsize.
right there on that genius. Chase, what is Larry Chang about to say? And you're welcome.
Thank you.
David, what is Larry Chang about to say?
I came in a little late, but
Okay.
that was about raising money.
Yeah.
LCRRM. Still LCRRM because it seems like what you're saying, Nick, is doing a conference business helps bring in deal flow for a VC firm, but that concept of making money with no money can still apply where he doesn't need the conference business. He could actually
Wait, he's doing a conference?
Okay, that was actually a good try. You didn't see my one LinkedIn contact.
You have one LinkedIn contact?
Who is that one? That one LinkedIn contact is the protocol that you want to run. Because the protocol that you're trying to do leads to a hole, giant black hole. That's one. That's Rollercoaster. Awesome Ministries Tom Ball. So you want to be Tom Ball and Rollercoaster. You're welcome, you're welcome.
Ball.
Yeah. So basically, Chase, you are the one trick pony, and that's okay. Because I've been dangling Brady's treats, okay, and you forgot externally guys. Because all those things that Nick listed were fucking genius fucking shit, okay? And you didn't, first of all, compliment Nick for being literally a decade in front of you. And you sounded like you're his boss.
Yeah.
By saying LCRM, Nick, where Nick and I were both like, oh, are we missing something? And then we're both like, fuck, we're Nick and fucking Larry. We're not missing shit from like newbie, okay? and we're just being helpful in an incredibly specific way where you need to be like, Nick, first of all, you dropped an incredible amount of genius APIs.
Yeah. Because it was.
It was genius. And then do you see how you didn't compliment him?
Yeah.
Do you understand now why Michael Jordan and Tom Brady took me right fucking away? Because I didn't talk like a Jordan to Michael Jordan and Tom Brady was ass. Here he goes again.
I can't. I don't know what to do.
You can't. Your boogers just came out of your nose. Your boogers came out of your nose. Because you're like, Larry normally rips you. Tom Brady, I'm gonna take my honey pot, okay? I'm gonna do this with it. I'm gonna do this with it. I'm gonna cover it. And nobody's ever gonna touch my honey pot. Because do you see how you left off the compliment for that genius? And also like you, and then now you can do what I did to Tom Brady. You're like, you do genius shit, okay? Here are the last 7 things. You just said the last 7 things that are genius. Just be like, hey, have you thought about the fact that what Nick you said was when you aced the Mark Cuban, Don Shula, Nick Tippmann event in Indianapolis, where you became friends with Larry, but you remember. I remember you.
I told the story last night to Josh and Maxim on how we met originally, or not originally. I said that I hadn't seen you for 10 years too. I came down to Austin Startup Week. We hadn't seen each other in basically a decade, and I saw him over at the corner of the bar, and I walked around the town and just went like this and said, Larry Chang. He said, Nick Tittman. Just immediately, decade later.
You remind me of 2 of my friends, Michael Jordan and Tom Brady. Because I say to them, hey, it's Larry Chang. I don't let them even think that for a moment, and they beat me to it. Where then people are like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what is going on right now? Because they will flank you faster. They will flank you faster. Hi, my name is Tom Brady. I play quarterback in this football team. I want to welcome you. I saw some of the videos from defensive back in university, back when you were undergrad, fucking IU. Didn't even know they had a good football team because we would crush them. Okay? I watched video. I went to Michigan. I went to Michigan. And then you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Tom Brady knows me better than I know myself. That's the external APIs that you get to run because you start off in kind of a dick saying by telling yourself in 10 years your future, hey, you left off LCR, and you should have been like, hey, Nick, what you just said, you're just running the same genius shit from Mark Cuban, Don Shula, Nick Tippmann, and then Nick was like, wow, thank you for reminding me how genius I am. Which is what Tom Brady and Michael Jordan do. You're gonna fucking think about fucking buying a fucking vacation thing, okay? No. You're Michael Jordan, okay? I'll pay you to come vacation. What are you talking about? Are you my agent? And then get it. Your agent. That sounds like and then it's the douchebag thing at the Super Bowl, which is, you got an agent? You got an agent? You got an agent? Like, what What did you say? Yeah, I got it. I got an Asian. Did you just say Asian? And then it's funny because it's funny.
So your question was, what is Larry gonna say? And Larry was gonna say that's genius. Is that right? Is that right?
And that, thank you.
I wanted the feedback too. Thank you.
Wow, right? Because we're now going back to two dudes that he's going to become, which there's no way you could have guessed what I'm saying, because I am light years ahead of you while not getting breathed on, because when I'm mentoring you, like, I need to be breathed on like the way Nick does. I need to get better, or else my mentee's going to surpass me. And you feel that, right?
What?
You feel that? Look at Nick's nervous. Look at Nick's nervous. Why are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. I'm saying I don't know about that. I'm being humble over here. That was a humble nervous.
I know you are, but you can feel me semi-intimidated by Nick, right?
No, I couldn't.
No, you should actually, because I feel Nick behind me, and you two should be behind me also. And then thank you for the question, because two dudes, because you can't predict what I'm going to say, because there's two dudes that you're going to be pattern replicating. Tom Ball with Austin Ventures and Roll of both of them. They both bought franchises with sweat equity, and that's because Jason did it the hard way, and he kind of got lucky. Jason
I love it.
yeah, and also DocuSign. The thing that you didn't run was Protocol Lunch 2.0. DocuSign. Their office is run from my office, and they ran Lunch 2.0. So before he ran SaaStr, he ran Lunch 2.0. And guess what I used to launch Stanford incubators, starting an incubator the same way that we're doing the Rainy Street incubation. Larry Shane. So Lunch 2.0 is a protocol. So you take those three APIs, Lunch 2.0, Top Ball, roll the both of them. And then you become non-employee co-founder of the SaaStr, the vertical SaaS. And then now you sell it to the same people that we're selling Greenwood to. I don't think I've ever creepily winked this much to like heterosexual. Okay, if you're not, okay? If you're not heterosexual. These guys love me so much that they're nervous that like,
What's he gonna say?
no.
I've been around that.
Where's this going? Larry, may I drink my coffee?
Those are the three APIs you're running.
Yeah, so Tom Ball, roll off, pull up.
Yeah, as a non-employee co-founder of vertical SaaS.
So what is Lunch 2.0?
Do you see how great these questions are? Great questions, great questions. Lunch 2.0 is food for lead gen. It's food for lead gen with a sponsor. In fact, Lunch 2.0 needs to be done here, so if you guys wanted to take over that defunct franchise, you call it Lunch 2.5 or 3.0.
3.0.
Pick.
Yeah.
And then you get the DJ and more APIs just for free. And then vertical SaaS, Nick, it sounds a lot like LC UBS. And I would even do a vertical SaaS thing in Omaha. So that way it fucks up in Omaha, just like TechCrunch Disrupt, fucking up in the UK. Just fucking up in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, it worked? Oh. Yeah. That's really cool. Is TC40, TC50, co-founder of Disrupt.
Oh.
It's crazy, right? Because I told Arrington that he needs to make $1 million doing events. And then we're like, okay, let's start really small. Let's pick 40 startups. And we'll do a 1-day or a 2-day conference on 40 startups. And then, what did you do last year at TechCrunch? What did you do next year? So we picked a guy who I made, Aaron Patzer. Do you guys know Mint? Aaron Patzer? Mint.
Yeah.
It's Duck 9, but like stupid, like better. Jason, not Lemkin, Jason, Patorti. Jason Vittori graphics. And then TC40 they won. And then at TC50 we're like, hey, good job getting your $180 million exit. Do you want to chip in a $50,000 prize because we made you $180 million? Me and Mike were like, we helped you win $180 million. Will you chip in $50K for next year's prize? Guess what he says? No, I'll think about it on stage. We're like, we just gave you $180 million. You defriend Larry Chang. You defriend Larry Chang, okay? Because he's a non-employee co-founder of Mint, or maybe not even a co-founder. It doesn't even matter. You growling? You should be angry, right? You should be angry.
It's like I have not had a donut yet.
Based on these donuts.
I know. I'll be after you. No dude trained over the bathroom.
Let's all go together. That's weird.
You gotta stagger it, you know. Yeah.
I know, Nick.
You can talk. Talking.
What's on your mind?
TechCrunch 40, 50, and Mint.com. I'm not seeing what your Larry Chang UBS vertical says.
Yeah.
Where am I at there?
You're doing a prequel in Omaha.
Oh yeah.
Do you love how Nick always expands on a prior, right?
Yeah.
Every time, and also good job you too for expanding on a prior. Because we talk about this all the time. Rich people expand on a prior. Where this is like we're keeping a checkbox check score of it. I'm at 9, Nick's at like 5.
Gotcha.
For expansion on prior.
Yeah.
5 is legendary. 2 makes you noticeable and legendary. And you've got 3 and you've got 1 or 2.
Are you keeping track? Seriously?
What?
I feel like you have so many details in your head all the time.
But this is actually something I'm always listening for is expansion on the prior.
Okay.
Versus people that fork away and be like, so Larry, where do you live?
Oh,
Pre-qualification. Oh Larry, when did you make your first billion? Like pre-qualification. Larry, that Stanford shit's fraudulent. That's a fork with an interrogation.
Just thinking of somebody doing that.
Without gonna be big.
So I'm just thinking of somebody at the table. Man, this Stanford shit was fraudulent.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And thank you for telling me where you're going. Which is Len has been enabled to know that Chad and Steve have a terrific website called YouTube as IP and hand the baton over to who wants to moderate.
Oh, we're gonna expand on the subject of what the prequel in Omaha, so you don't fuck it up, of what the exact analog version of that is, of how it relates to the fund right now, because
This is for your fund, right? That he's talking
yeah,
about. Yeah.
somebody sent me both Paul guy. They both worked at those firms for 10 years, and then became the CEO and took over. And in a firm, there really isn't an owner; you're a partner. Each new fund is its own fund, so you have a split of what the carry of that fund is. So it's not like equity in a startup. It's like each fund has its new ownership split, and so they don't care. What I think he's getting at is like just fucking go run faster, because Jason London is probably about ready to retire. He didn't care that much. He'd already been doing it for 10 years. That's where I see
the
it.
audience, and how do you monetize the audience? I mean, that's the flywheel.
Yeah.
Once you build the audience, and now what do you do with it?
Yeah, exactly. And so So in my head, having built a media company before, and when I realized I fucked up, the highest leverage way to use an audience is to sell venture capital, or is to attract it's the top sales in the world. And so if you can have capital and selling equity and use that as the audience, that's basically how it got to it. It's like what is the best way to monetize eyeballs? I've built a community of startups and investors before, but I did not monetize it properly. I only did the events, but I also had no credibility, no experience of a successful business to be able to be a VC on the side of it, so it's not like I could have. But now I see if I ran back that same play, I had access to everyone. And is the same way. I could just go, again, it's a sequel business to my own business that I've already done. So talk about engineering the risk out of it and de-risking it. I know that I can go do it. And then two, I know that it works because I've seen Jason do it, and right now, and that's like kind of went like this, and more on like an incline now, like a little slower. And so there's opportunity for a new community to come in because that community is kind of stagnant. The community gets stagnant after 8 years and 30,000 people. It's very different than when it was 8 years ago and 30 people. You know,
Like going back to the same thing, it's familiar.
it's familiar. So, but then I don't see why. That's why I want to ask him, why is it less restrictive? Why go do Omaha? I feel like Niblets was Omaha for me. My company 10 years ago was Omaha, and the de-risking it and not ruining the reputation and not going all for it, and was able to do that in a lower cost way. To now, I am ready to be more out there and go for it. So we'll see. But that's why I'm interested in his opinion on it, on the Omaha.
More?
I'm good right now. We got
Isn't the
Little
point
bit.
though?
yeah, we have to fly out.
Oh wow.
Oh.
So I love what you're saying. Wouldn't Omaha just be like the way to test run this idea? Or I thought that's what Larry was saying. So if you did Omaha, this is your way of maybe doing what you did before, but this time being a VC, and instead of it being about the event, you're actually monetizing by being a VC with 10 mil, but really it could be $60. It wouldn't matter.
Yeah, and that's where I was saying that I believe that the de-risking Omaha was Niblets. Like,
Was what? Netflix?
Was Niblets. Like,
Niblets, yes.
The fact that I ran a conference, I already did this
Yeah.
exact same business for 2 years, and what I learned is I didn't monetize it properly or leverage it properly, which I was saying the highest leverage way to monetize an audience of founders and VC is to then be the VC, is where my head is. And so if I can build the audience now and build a profitable business, but then also leverage that audience and the attention by being a venture capitalist, I already had all that set up before. But when I was doing Niblets, I had no credibility and didn't know my ass from my hands, and like I couldn't have done this. Then, knowing what I now know, I can run back the same media thing and build the attention and do the events and get the flywheel, but then also monetize VC. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like Omaha, my version of Omaha was Niblets 10 years ago, and I'm ready.
In Indianapolis or in
We did conferences every year in Cincinnati and Memphis.
Cincinnati, Memphis? That's it.
Yep.
So you feel like you couldn't have done it the first time?
No, I wouldn't. I didn't have the credibility. I couldn't have been on the captain. Like I couldn't. The entrepreneurs would be like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah.
It would have been who I was. Like I met them. My whole goal was to be around entrepreneurs, know them, and like be around the founders. I have a reason to reach out to successful investors and founders and provide them value when I didn't have a way to give them value. So I gave them a stage and I gave them an audience to get that influence back. So that was the best. That was in my head at that time. That was the best value that I could give while also building my network to being able to learn. Now
You really
I
couldn't
can-
have done it back then anyway.
So you didn't make a
But now
mistake,
you
but
know.
now you're prepared.
But
Yeah,
the
what
mistake is I could have monetized it better with
Oh, you-
sponsorships
Oh.
and other way, like the business. I could have made the business better. Like now I know when I'm saying do a $10 million EBITDA business. Now, granted, that's 10 or 12 years into his business. It didn't start out there. Obviously, they grew it into that, and he's ran conference business before. But I had basically 1 million monthly unique or 1 million annual uniques, 100K monthly unique visitors, and I wasn't building an email list. I wasn't selling
Right.
sponsorships. It was Google ads. It was I didn't know how to monetize it properly. Whereas he has almost probably the same audience. I mean, let's just
Who's he?
double. Jason Lemkin on Saster.com right now probably gets double or triple the audience, which is not that much more, but we're talking about like making 100K a year to 10 million a year. So orders of magnitude different in just a maybe 2 to 4x different audience size. So that's what I'm saying, how much better he is at monetizing it and running it.
Do you
Expanding.
see how you're playing the last game versus playing the next game? Because I'm telling you to not bring that baggage, even though you want to use the engineering degree. You want to use the niblets thing as a springboard.
Understood. And that's I'm saying that well, my comment was I actually think event conference business is the hardest and worst way to make money.
It is.
And I know how hard it is, and I don't want to open that. But what I was trying to say is the reason for that, though, in the model and the sequel is it's de-risked because I've done it before, and this is the model, and it's the flywheel next to the fund. And I need to have a cash flowing asset that is my evergreen LP. Or that is also.
Do you think
that is a good way because both businesses run together simultaneously. One generates cash, and the other one benefits from the audience and the influence that this one builds.
And do you see how he's locking in the 2 donuts by getting rid of every other donut? Do you guys see that, or do you guys not see that?
You mean like limiting it?
Yeah.
David self-asphyxiates himself by not breathing enough. And so he literally tries to asphyxiate himself as far as like some self-penalty by not allowing oxygen. Look how much oxygen Nick and I are breathing.
Breathing, it's the most important thing you do.
And do you see how like once you see a person and you ask yourself, why don't you think you deserve oxygen? Because I see you in your breath. Ditto athletes who don't breathe as they're winning or refuse to breathe while they're touching the football.
So where am I? Yeah.
Because you're not being creative with your APIs, because you're like, I want to take the 2 things that I did, and then your language is scarcity, even though it's coming from a small honeypot of abundance. You're doing this. Fuck that cookie.
One thing that I'll share for 10 seconds that Larry has us do is why don't we do step 1, which is list out creatively external APIs. We just brainstorm and just go back to back to back. So, generate more donuts in a way.
Because the way that you're thinking about income is the way a poor person thinks about income.
Yeah.
And that's not
Fair.
good because you're trying to marry up the money out with the money in. I love that. I love that.
It's
love
actually.
I love
I
that.
feel like they're two related but different business model, and I wouldn't think of it like an employee. One
You're
is
gonna get
building.
3 employees. You're gonna get 3 employees at Niblets 3.0, and they're both gonna report to you. They're both gonna report to you, and then as that happens, you're gonna get more confused. You're gonna get more confused because now you're gonna have 5 reports. Now you're gonna get 5 reports. Now you're gonna get 5 people reporting to you. And once you, will you stop moving me? I'm kidding. And now you're gonna have 5 people reporting to you, or 3 people reporting to you. And guess what that happens? You want 1 person reporting to you.
Yep.
You want 1 person reporting to you.
Yep.
Does this apply to anybody else? Who has more than 5 people reporting to them right now? You're lucky. You feel like you're about to take on.
Nightmare. If you it's a fucking nightmare. I've been at 8.
So
It's
your language is you're about to have 3.
Right. I do hear you there, and I do. What Jason has done as well is he does have 1 report, and he has a president that runs SaaStr at this point.
1 person.
Yeah, and then he is his single solo GP still. And
He
so,
is?
I mean, a $100 million fund, he's his own GP is my understanding of it.
Are you gonna try to run that model?
No, I'm not. No, I'm going more the Sequoia model where you would have a roll-off Botha who's a CEO over time. I mean, this is the longer-term vision on many more funds, but in vertical SaaS, you could
get
have a
replaced.
franchise. Yeah, I replace myself really quick. I don't care to be the GP. I'm going to be the money. I create the relationship with the LPs. I own the relationship with the LPs. I'll hire other GPs, and I'll truly be a managing director at that point. And then we'll have GPs in each vertical of the vertical SaaS, healthcare, construction.
Do you see why I'm surprised by that? Because you named it. What name?
I named it.
How did you do the nomenclature? Chase, what am I about to say? Dave, what am I about to say?
It's not. It's genius, but also it needs
Well done.
Always lead with that.
Well
Thank you for
done.
laughing. Thank you
Always
for laughing
lead with
to
that.
prompt me to laugh. It's genius, but
So the theme I'm detecting here is trying to do too many internal APIs and not enough external APIs.
wow,
That's where the money
Because
is on the outside.
wow,
it's where the leverage is.
Yeah.
wow. Oh,
Is that? I mean, is that?
yeah, it's fucking spot on. Nick's taking
Explain to
notes.
me. Yeah.
I know. Look at it.
I don't hear that.
He doesn't understand his own genius.
Wow.
But it is.
So let's pretend these are the donuts.
Yep.
No, we don't pretend donuts.
Okay.
Give me those honey pots. That's my stash.
So basically, by doing the events business essentially yourself, and then the fund yourself, and then trying to bring in a third party to the mix, which is any VC or startup you're going to help, it makes you bear 2/3 of the burden of labor, whether it's directly or indirectly. So I think the whole point is, what if you just focused on one of them and found someone who's already doing one of those, so that way you do less, but you get the same value exchange. Is that
Fuck yeah.
correct?
So, I have thought about that, and that is now more of a this is a phased approach. I know I can't do it all at day one. You do have to build a brand, build influence as a VC, and I'm a marketer, and I can do that. I don't need to be hosting big events and big media on day one, but I also can build traffic to a site and SEO like really fast and really well, and I can. What most VCs do is they don't put the separation of their media business and the fund together. They do it together, and they just call this media business marketing for the fund. And so all the funds have to do marketing anyways. What I'm doing is splitting them apart and making this a cash generating asset for something that I already have to do and all funds already have to do. That's already part of the business model. But I'm separating it and making it different so that that will generate cash, and that can be on the side and ran differently than the fund itself. So like the other example, the model of that then would be my friends at Go to Market Fund, where I'm an LP2 and a top 98 percentile fund over the last 3 years on their first two funds. And he also ran this play. He knows how to build a media company. He built saleshacker.com, which was the largest community for go-to-market leaders, and sold it to Outreach, which is a $7 billion company, and stayed there for 4 years and just left and started Go-to-Market Fund. Now is retired in Scottsdale and buying his second house and doing really well.
Who's this?
This is Max Ulcher. He was early number 2 or 3 at Udemy too. I came up through the valley, wrote a book called Hacking Sales. Sales guy turned marketer, built communities, sold his media company to the SaaS company, so they leveraged the audience. He left. He's running it back again. He's Jason Lemkin's good friend as well, or mentee. He actually ran the first SaaStr because he hosts conferences and events. He's also a conferences and event guy. Jason Lemkin hired Max as outsourcing the event planning, and Jason also didn't know events, never ran events. He's like, Max, you love events, you have an event business, you run conferences, I'm just gonna hire you. You put on our conference, you can take all the profit from the first one, but we just want the brand, and so you're gonna run my business, you're gonna start my brand, you can take the profits, I don't care about the profits early, I'm doing this to build my VC. And then that's like the incestuous of all of that. 8 years later, Max now built, that was at the very beginning of the Sales Hacker days. He built Sales Hacker into what it was, sold it to Outreach, 4 years at Outreach, vests, gets his money, leaves, goes, starts his own VC fund, and is running Jason Lemkin's model. But where he's messing up, he's not separating these two, because he doesn't care anymore. he's actually, I know that I've talked to him about this. He knows that he could run a successful media business on the side of it, but he's really focused on the fund, and they're just doing it as marketing. And so Paul, the principal there, who's principal and head of platform, really runs their events and then all their portfolio support, and that's what his role is. But his role essentially could also, if he took off the portfolio support, would just be pulled over and could be head of events and media right now.
Wait, repeat that last part.
Paul at Go to Market Fund, who is their principal, could really just be pulled apart right now and really be called head of their media and portfolio support right now if they separated those two entities. But I don't think Max just doesn't care enough right now and did well enough that he's just having fun.
Oh,
gonna need to optimize
that
it.
reminds me
Yeah.
of somebody else that I know.
No, I'm not on hit. Like he's even maybe
that
you.
reminds me of somebody else I know.
Yeah,
That reminds
not
me of
me.
somebody else I know.
Who?
That reminds me of somebody else that I know. I saw him walking on San Jacinto Boulevard. I was like, bro, who's your mentor right now? His name's me. I'm awesome.
My mentor is crowdsourced. I have many. I'm in an accelerator right now, or was in an accelerator for VCs. Like I've gone through the program. I've studied this all up and down. I have access to hundreds of emerging GPs and fellows, and yeah.
Are you talking about Kaufman Fellows?
No, but I talked to I was at dinner with a Kaufman fellow on Tuesday night talking to him about the program, and I'm going to start.
Have you heard of Larry Chang? Because I can make that intro to you for Kaufman Fellows Foundation, as I ran the external API to Kaufman Foundation.
Well, no, I didn't know that, but yes, I would love that.
Oh wait, I think he's in your Rolodex right now.
Oh yeah.
And do you see how like Kaufman Foundation is the stuff that me and Dave were talking about with hacking venture capital LP? And somebody didn't discover the Easter egg of Opal Financial Group Public Fund Summit East.
Opal Financial Group Public Fund Summit East.
The Larry Chang hilarious keynote on the now defunct website called Xconomy, which now you can find at archive.org. Which is the Opal Financial Group Public Fund Summit East, which is LPs. What 7 questions are you asking of your GPs during Larry Chang LP thought leadership season? Because every LP has meetings in November to try to divvy up capital allocations by January. And so I'm like, how do I own all of your LPs? Like I own every LP. By calling it limited partner thought leadership season. Are you learning only at your own LP summit, or are you learning from everyone's summit? And people are like, this is how you get alpha. Seeking alpha like alpha returns. And then Capital Dynamics was like, this is the most awesome shit I've ever seen. This is Sunny. Did you meet Sunny? Sunny, the guardsman. So he's the guy who introduced me to Sean, who also came from Capital Dynamics. And Sean was the guy who got the Tiffany Duck. The Tiffany Duck. Anyway.
So to tie everything together is the main point that let all of the events be decentralized, but be so in tune with them, and basically ChatGPTing all those events well enough where
I think you should ask Nick to do pattern recognition, because your pattern recognition is like quarter baked.
yeah.
So
What
do
do
you
you
have a
think?
question for Nick?
What's the yeah?
How does this all tie together to what we're talking about with the events, media business, and then your fund, and how to make it work?
Yeah, I could probably draw up like a flywheel. Like it's a flywheel that the media, which you have to do anyways, which is a newsletter, events, Twitter, LinkedIn, you have to put out there, but you can all centralize it around a podcast. And so this is the simplification of it, that it sounds really complicated and everything, but you have a single podcast with a weekly episode that then creates a relationship with an entrepreneur or an investor or whoever, you're creating a one-to-one relationship with whoever that influencer is that you're having on the podcast. That then is an hour piece of long-form content that then gets turned into written content, thought leadership that can be then posted on places like Xconomy or the new versions of those, which is guest thought leadership on all other podcasts or blogs. You can post it on your own blog. You then chop it up into short snippets to repurpose on all the social media sites. But then you're also doing your podcast. You can do it as a live event. And so you actually have an audience. And so you can create a relationship not only one-to-one with the podcast guests, but then also one-to-one or one-to-many with your audience. You can also then create a many-to-many relationship, and that's how you truly create a community by hosting all on a 1 hour, one time a week single event. And then if you just posted that not on fundwebsite.com, but on media website of fund.com instead, you could have a separation of search and save. You could do all sorts of SEO and be more marketing over here too. But I'm still creating a relationship. Again, at the end of the day, I'm still a VC and still have the money in creating the relationships there. That gets me deal flow. I'm talking to the founders. They're going to introduce me to other founders. I'm providing them value by putting them on a show that's high quality, that's influential, that then helps them raise money from other VCs. It makes the sector hot, as Larry has taught me before in the VC mentoring, around your really job as the VC is to sell the space to then make the space hot so that then the next VC is going to buy it and follow on. So you're actually making their space hotter by doing the interview around what they're doing as well. And then,
Huge.
And then you're back to, you have a fund and you're getting the best deals. And now, because I'm building this influence and because all these successful entrepreneurs and investors are coming on my podcast, I'm being associated with their brand. They know that I've built this VC and I'm creating this exclusive, super exclusive community of LPs to be in the fund. And the first fund is under 200 or under 10 million, which means I can have 250 LPs. When I'm pitching LPs, the next one's going to be over that. It's going to go to 99. So I create scarcity in my LP base, even who's going to want to be in and who's going to want to put in a bigger check for fund 2. But then they want to be in this club. That's going to help me get deal flow. And then that also helps me do my due diligence. When I have any deal comes in, I'm going to have any expert in that network of the LPs. And you just keep running this, although all it takes is one hour podcast a week and then a process to promote that. So that's where I thought of I don't think I end up with 3 or 5 employees, not at least immediately. I'm going to have to do that for the fund anyways. I just might as well put it on the other entity to then be able to extract value and make this a money-making machine later. At least that's my thought right now.
And that's why we asked, because now I get it.
Because it's the one thing, which is the podcast that happens weekly, that then
So what
It just becomes
what Nick's
everything
doing
else.
is he's iterating on EU, TW, and PPM, and he's helping me make it better. Because I have holes in my EU, TW, and PPM. And do you see why I did hear footsteps? Because what you're trying to say is my mentor Larry Chang is smarter than you. And I was listening, hoping that Chase was right. And it turns out Chase needed to just ask the question, is my mentor being surpassed by my new mentor, Nick Tippman?
That's some genius shit right there.
It really is. It really is. Because I was listening to Chase, hoping that Chase was right. Hanging on every Chase's word, because if he's right, I get to keep my lead over Nick. But it turns out, you saw me learn. You saw me learn and iterate. Which is how I became the smartest person in Silicon Valley with an IQ of 88. But I was hoping that Chase was right with his question. And then when it wasn't right, I'm like, oh fuck, well, I guess we gotta ask the person who's now surpassing me. Because he's right about the flywheel. And then you can now M&A his flywheel. What would you M&A it with? breath holder. He's literally Mr. Blue in the corner. Like, oh, I'll call you back. Oh yeah, sure. Ask for Mr. Blue.
Yeah.
I'll be waiting in the corner holding my breath. This is what it looks like when you hold your breath in the corner. It's okay. Oxygen's free.
Oh, I just wanted to add on to what you were saying, which was genius shit. I just heard you list out a lot of hashtag EUT, WMPPM, and external API, and then expand on it with, podcast, because I have the checklist in my notebook, but one that's not on there is like, get a podcast, get the VCs to talk on there, and use their momentum and their weight.
Yep.
And you're giving them a platform. They're like, thank you.
Yep.
And
They're thanking you for that.
And now I understand why those two other retards that you mentor are trying to do a quarter-baked podcast. Now I get that.
Yeah, their whole thing, it changed their whole business just having me and Chris Walker on. It opened up every conversation for them yesterday. That's why I said, this is what I can do for you. Yeah, I'll get on your podcast, and then we'll use that to get you Chris, and then as soon as you have us, you can flip that, and you'll be able to get any CMO in SaaS.
Right. And that's where now I feel better about your two retards, because I have retards of my own. Do you guys like how you guys never catch collateral damage? It's only,
Yeah.
it's only
Until next time. Until next time. Yeah, now you'll be part of the crew.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't push those donuts at
willing
me.
to be charged.
Upgraded to a standard.
Is that not hilarious?
But you kind of want Larry to do it to you too, though, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I get that.
You're like almost like I kind of wish he was. Yeah.
When my baseball coach was ripping me a new butthole, I knew that everyone else, now you guys understand Tom Brady getting yelled at. Is because he wants to get yelled at, so that way everyone else perks right up and starts breathing better. Ditto Jordan, ditto Steve Kerr, where he was standing up for himself, doing the correct thing. Because I was hoping that Chase was right. And after Chase quarter baked that question, but Larry's great, I think. I hope so. And then I'm like, not true, Chase. Let's ask Nick. And then Nick explained to me, and then these are my notes. This is like my last page of notes. But that's why taking notes is critical. Because now I have better UTWM PPM. Is that crazy?
Yeah.
So we like the event idea then?
Yeah.
So did it validated?
Another expansion. There we go. Another expansion on the product.
Yes. As he surpassed me while I was in the bathroom, I knew what you were doing. So I was peeing as fast as I could, and then wiping down all the surfaces because is Larry a resident? Is he crashing or does he own this place? Because I was sitting around a breakfast just like this, and one of our buddies, Ty, was like, "Oh, hey guys, I'm gonna buy a hotel." I'm like, I enjoy owning the fucking Best Western and the land around it because we know your shit moves, okay? You buy a shit piece of land, you build your little Thai Beanie Baby headquarters in Westmont, you get it annexed as Oakbrook, and then bam, 6x multiple. It's a pretty good model, you know? But, enjoy finding a Best Western outside of Naperville that Naperville annexes to become Naperville where you bought Westmont and now it's Oakbrook. Oh, it's 6x? Crazy. What, you're buying a hotel? Tell us about this Motel 6 that you're buying in fucking Aurora. Oh, it's just a Four Seasons. Enjoy owning it in Alabama. I'm buying a Four Seasons. Enjoy Alabama. That's how we all were. And I kind of was like that too. Maybe I led that charge. So I'm saying if I'm in New York and I'm homeless, okay? Because some supermodel wants to hang out, I'm like, we're not hanging out at your place. I could lose a kidney there. I'll be kidnapped. So we're gonna get third-party housing with built-in security. Fucking Four Seasons, okay? They have insurance policy on the premises. We can't get our guests hijacked, okay? That would be bad for the brand. Oh yeah, for the brand, okay? There's on-site. This is why I'm doing a 100K and 200K Bitcoin party in Miami at the fucking Four Seasons. Whereas Michael Saylor, Mobile Wave, who mentioned Mobile Wave? Doesn't matter. So Michael Saylor is going to be like, we're doing it at the house. Enjoy no security at the house, whereas I enjoy Four Seasons security. I'm homeless in New York with a hottie, and I need security, and I need a place to bed. Okay, all the rooms are sold out. I'm like, okay, there's got to be some suite that is unsold because who buys the most expensive suite? I'm like, fuck. I'll figure out a way to stick somebody else with the bill. Okay, this sounds familiar to you, okay? Which is why I kept on telling you over and over, I'm paying for breakfast, I'm paying for breakfast. Well, Larry's just gonna stick me with the bill. I'm gonna hold it, man. My name's Nick Tippett. Did I pay fast enough? Just like you guys. Did I pay fast enough? Did I pay fast enough? I fucking didn't pay fast enough. I'm Googling suites. Chase, hustle up. I'm Googling suites, I'm homeless. I'm Googling suites, I'm homeless. I'm Googling suites, okay? I'm motherfucking homeless. And then there's the Ty Warner suite atop the New York Four Seasons. I'm like, what Alabama Four Seasons owner brands a suite in New York? Like, there's no way that he could own his own hotel.
That's funny.
And I'm like, why would you own the Alabama Four Seasons and then brand the Ty Warner suite in New York? That's just like ballsy. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Does he own this whole hotel? Which he does, because it's the Ty Warner suite. It's like the $75,000 per night room that's like 75,000 square feet. Where you're like, I need to pee. I don't know where to go. I'm just gonna pee in the lobby foyer.
It doesn't matter.
Like, my room has more rooms. Like, I just thought that my room just doesn't have a bed. Who booked me into this conference room? Who booked me into the conference center? Who booked me into sales catering? Fuckers forgot the bed in this hotel. Oh wait, that's around the corner? Behind these doors? I need a fucking map in this suite. That's when I discovered that you didn't buy the Alabama Four Seasons.
What did he buy?
New York Four Seasons.
Oh, the Taiwan. Yeah.
The
Who is
Ty Warner
Who is Ty Warner?
He sold Beanie Babies.
Oh, that's.
Trump is hard.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He first sold Dakin.
Gotcha. That
Stuffed
makes
animals.
sense now. Yep.
And that's how I run the largest toy drive on the Western Seaboard. That I didn't want to just give kids an Xbox or some fucking video game. I'm like, you're getting a fucking stuffed animal and you're loading that shit up on eBay. And you're learning arbitrage, your first arbitrage.
That was actually almost my first arbitrage and first experience on eBay in 1997. And then I bought Guitar Hero. I mean, my last business before going to college was an arbitrage between liquidation.com and eBay, and I bought $5,000 worth of Guitar Hero pallets at a time. They were returned from Best Buy, Circuit City, and Walmart. But there was 3 pieces to a Guitar Hero, but typically only one of them was broken, or they were returned because the parents bought them for the wrong Xbox instead of Playbook, and so there's nothing wrong with them. So I buy them a pallet of them at like 35 to 40 bucks a piece, and you'd end up refurbishing like 90 of them and sell them at like double a markup. But it was funny. That was the original arbitrage. But Beanie Babies, it went Beanie Babies to fake Oakleys, to GameCubes, to Tickle Me Elmos, to Guitar Heroes. Is what it took.
You remind me of my mentor, the 2 dudes who invented airplane flight. Am I the biggest top 50 physicist douchebag ever? No bachelor degrees were conferred even upon death.
For the Wright brothers?
Yeah, and like disputed whether or not they invented airplane flying, which is right up my alley. Pun intended. Because what the fuck? Like, you invented an airplane that flies for 3 hours where you can drop a grenade out, and you're gonna claim that I didn't invent airplane flights, with like Yale not even giving a bachelor's degree and Wilbur dying with no degree and no posthumously awarded thing. So I, as Larry Chang, Stanford athletic director, my first thing will be to give a Yale hockey undergrad named Orville his undergraduate degree at Stanford posthumously. Am I an asshole?
It's crazy.
it's hilarious. That's why it's
I don't know
called
how
the
you come up
USS.
with it.
It's called the USS Nimitz.
What's that?
The dude who didn't invent the airplane.
Oh, I didn't know.
That's the best aircraft carrier, is the dude who didn't invent an airplane. So enjoy landing on that piece of turd. crazy. And that's what the Wright brothers did. They sold bikes. And
Yeah.
so when you refurbish Guitar Heroes, he didn't get his first bike line. He first refurbished. Do you see how like the shit is as old as time itself?
Yeah.
Because I asked you, and now we're coming full circle. When you found a piece of turd to buy, because that's what the Wright brothers did with like old bicycle parts.
Yeah.
So keep going. So you bought turd, and then how did you turn it around or make it better?
Well, I mean, it didn't. I made it stop losing money, which is why the people that bought it, they ended up with 60% of it from the founder, and then it was burning cash with this executive. It was insane. They fired the CEO, asked me to run it. The only thing they wanted, they said, make it stop losing money. So I did.
Goals.
Right.
Wow.
I just took a hatchet and cut out everything, anything that didn't have at least a glimmer of value in it. So what did have it is this this software, this accounting and inventory management software. And so I just I say I ran with it, I walked with it. I haven't grown it much, but I've been comfortable and carried that forward. But now I'm bored. Well, I've been bored for a while. So hence the idea of, let me take all this domain knowledge about how small business people think and what I'm pretty sure they need, and create a SaaS product, completely different product, and see what we can do.
I love that.
So that's what Jeff has helped me kind of focus my efforts.
I love that.
And so it's early. I mean, it's early on. We're 5 months into the development. I start off. I tell Jeff I got the cart before the horse, because who are you going to sell it to? I'm not sure yet. What the fuck are you developing it? Oh, okay, let me back up here. But now I have the cart next to the horse at least, and a couple of leads on some niches to at least to get this thing on its feet and profitable, and see what works.
I love that.
And then take what we learned from that and start to either expand that segment or look at similar segments. Because in a way, as a U.S. small business, it almost doesn't matter what the business is. The mind of the business owner, I've just been working with them for so long, and I kind of get it. So I'm hoping that I'm right, and that will be able to turn into something that's appealing to them. That when they see it, like, this guy's been reading my mail, how does he know exactly what I need?
That's extrapolation.
Which I learned
that's
from
pattern
Jeff.
recognition. I love that.
And so that's sort of the first major plateau for me, is get that thing on its feet and functioning.
That's cool.
Meaning in the market, not just the software, to get the whole machine working, and then we'll see where we're at and what might be possible from there. And we're bootstrapping it, and I don't have a lot of cash, but it's working. It's working. Yeah, this is going to work.
I love that.
I think bootstrapping, I took a hatchet to other things to cut out. I don't need this and I don't need that. And who needs a 401k? All this stuff. Say, okay, I can carve out a modest amount of money to invest in this, because now this is my future.
Right.
Screw everything else. And that's where we're at right now.
I love that. I love everything about that.
So good. So we're getting there. And I only wake up in a cold sweat every now and then, not every night.
That's progress.
It is progress.
Part soon is gonna have like 40 API voices pulling.
Yeah. So I'm following Jeff's playbook, and
It's great.
I instantly recognized that, that's exactly how this works. Thank you. And running with it to put it into practice.
I want to keep you on time. Should we do that podcast?
Yeah, we can do it later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or how about now?
I actually have a meeting.
Okay.
Was it 10? It was at 9, then it pushed it to 10.
Okay.
Pushed it to
Okay.
10:30.
Okay. We'll figure out some time later on.
That'd be fun.
Nice.
Love to get you on as well.
Yeah, we'd love to. What's the podcast? Yeah.
SAS Fuel.
Oh, SAS Fuel? Yeah, heck yeah.
100th
Love
episode
to.
coming up, right?
Oh, nice. Let me look it up.
Released, I think number 80 or 81 was yesterday.
SAS Fuel.
Tell Nick.
Very
Tell
cool.
Nick the format for episode 102 and 101.
So we're going to do 102. We'll do it first. And so it's going to be Larry.
Okay.
And 101 is going to be, we'll start with Larry, and then it's just going to get interrupted and taken over by somebody else.
Which is you.
Interesting.
Which is you.
Okay.
Which is you. Do you like how I
Oh, yeah.
because I gave you the plan before this. Is this blowing your brain right now?
Yeah.
So that's where the first thing I texted you is let's do podcast 2.
Yeah.
102. And then I'll come up with some guest, and if nothing, like we'll just pull the whale at breakfast.
I remember.
Because this is exactly.
Yeah, but look who it is now.
Followed it.
And do you see how like, and then so Nick, do you like how the podcast for episode 101 is what the fuck? Like Nick's blowing up my interview, right?
That's hilarious and it'd be
And
funny.
then, and then the snippet, and then you have your transition, you have your teaser, and then, oh, well, as a consolation prize, we'll re-get you on for the next episode, 102. Do you see? And then, because people can't tell what sequence it was, right? And then that
We
makes...
shoot out of sequence all the time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
We'll have to pick your brain sometime when I get this podcast up and